Okay, I got the red smoke.
Gun runs north to south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. You're cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
Yeah, it's just a straight up
Cool. Yeah.
conversation. Any particular place that you would feel more comfortable starting? Maybe open with what you were saying about how you want to be very clear that perhaps you're not the PAO or spokesman for your organization.
Correct. Yeah.
Into the mic, though. Pull that.
All right. Heck yeah.
Maybe start with that.
Yeah. We're good to go.
We're already going.
All right. Well, just to be clear, I'm not the spokesman for my agency. Anything I say, obviously, it doesn't represent, my agency. But, I do have my own opinions on a lot of things. So,
Yeah. How big is your agency?
It's small. I work for a small agency. I worked for a couple big agencies. My friend Rob that you met, him and I worked at the same time for a pretty good agency.
Where'd you go through the academy?
Cleveland Heights, east side of Cleveland.
Okay.
Which that actual department, it's pretty big, very busy, quite a bit of crime, but it's run really well. So I went there.
Pull that mic with you.
Yeah,
No, that's right. You don't have to leave for it. Don't apologize.
Okay.
Just as you go, just pull the thing with you. Just try to keep it about a fist away.
Yeah, you got it.
We're going to get there together.
I hope so.
Or maybe we won't. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's a brave new world.
That's funny. So yeah, that's a bigger agency, and I went to the academy there, and then I relocated down near Canton, City of Alliance, that area. And
Why'd you guys decide to move?
So I was actually single at the time. One of my military buddies lived down there, and he asked me to, move down.
You were military before, or just a military buddy?
I was Army.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year were you in the Army?
I was active duty was 2007 to 2011. I did the tanks. I was a tanker.
What part of the tank?
Abrams. So actually, when I was active, I was a driver, loader.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was a gunner for just a little bit, but I ended up being a gunner in the National Guard afterwards.
What's the best role in an Abrams? Where's the best seat?
Most comfortable seat would definitely be the driver's seat.
Michael, this is actually worth looking at. Pull up the interior of an Abrams. Have you ever seen the inside of a tank?
Oh, it's incredible.
Michael?
No.
Okay, stand by. Your mind's about to be blown. Actually, I was going to ask you before you pulled up the image, what position do you think the driver is in? Because they're pretty laid back.
So you're pretty familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, they've let me up there before.
Oh, they're sweet.
Yeah. Today's episode is brought to you by me, Andy. Yes, today I get to do an ad read for something for myself. And here it is. I wrote a book. It's called Drown Proof. It comes out 6 days from when this episode releases. And I am trying to do everything possible to make this book successful. Not because I care about any of the lists or a monetary gain that could come from that, but a lot of people put their name on this book with me, and a lot of people have supported me behind the scenes. And I want to do everything that I possibly can to make it successful. Now, I said I don't care about the lists, and those are true. The one list, though, that seems to be the most prestigious is the one that I'm the most unlikely to make because they feel that I do not align with them from a politics or moral perspective, and that is the New York Times. It is not a sales list. It is an editorial list, so they get to pick. And the only way that I have a chance at it is to be undeniable. How do you become undeniable for them? You sell enough copies that they can't ignore you. And when it comes to that list, hardcovers, like this one right here, are what they count the most of. So I would humbly ask, if you have gotten anything out of this podcast since its inception, please do me a favor. Head over to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, whatever it may be, and pick up a hard copy. Every pre-sale counts, plus the first week after the book comes out. And that is all that I can ask. I hope this book is meaningful. I hope that it's helpful, and I hope it finds its way into as many people's hands as possible. For those of you who economically can't make a purchase right now, I totally understand. Please do me a favor and help me spread the word. The goal is to be undeniable. I want to force them to put me on that list. Back to the show.
Yeah, so that's a driver right there.
Yeah, this
That's
is not what you would be allowed to do, Michael, just so you know. You would be sitting on the outside.
I don't think I'd be allowed to do any of it.
No, you'd be
honestly.
like throwing daisies off the top. You'd be like picking flowers and shrubbery and shit.
So that bar there is called the T-bar. Actually pulls out
The one onto his right hand?
directly in front of him, that like white thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a motorcycle. The throttle's like, like a motorcycle.
And you're looking through, is that a glass hit the image on the right, Michael. See
So-
if you can make it bigger.
So that's actually the hatch.
No, not that
So that's
one.
the tank commander.
On the right.
I meant on the far right of the screen.
That's the third
Hit
ID
that
guy,
one.
too.
Now go far right. See if you, visit. Let's
Okay,
visit.
so it looks like the hatch is actually open.
Okay.
So he can like lift his seat up and kind of sit out,
but if
open
it's
hatch.
closed, what is he looking through?
So when it closes, there's like, it's sitting to the side. See that little switch on the right? If you go to the right there, that little like handle.
Yep.
So that like pivots and it shuts the hatch up top.
Okay.
And then you pull it down and seal it. And there's like little periscopes that you actually look through. It's incredible.
How about at nighttime?
What's that called? DVR?
So you're looking at a screen?
Yeah, so you put like this little night vision screen in there. That's incredible. I mean,
What kind of gauges we got on the left? What are we looking
you
at
got
here?
tachometers, speedometers.
What is the top end speed on that
I think
speedometer?
it's 42. Well, I think it goes to like 60, but it's like a driver's goal to max one of those things out.
Okay.
You're not a tank driver until you do that. But I think it's 42 is the max speed.
What? Okay, so and your job is legit straight driving.
I was a driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a colonel's driver.
And Michael, see if you can find a schematic, like an overhead image of all the seats in an Abrams. Because how many
yeah.
people are in
Looking
there?
right
Four.
now.
4 people. Okay, so you got driver. Who else you got?
So the driver's, by himself down there. He's
front
in the
left, as you if you're
front
looking
direct
at
center.
Okay.
Front center. He's in the on the turret, or I'm sorry, in the hull of the tank.
Okay.
Then you have the turret. You got the tank commander. You have the loader, and you have the gunner.
Okay. Loader is probably what it sounds like, loading the shells.
Yeah, I mean it's a job.
Yeah.
You got to. I mean, it's just crazy.
Oh,
if you've
dope.
never
Yeah,
been in
hit
one of
that
these
thing.
tanks. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, that little on the center of the bottom screen, the bottom tank.
Yep.
Go down just a little bit. That seat right there is where the loader sits.
Gotcha.
He'll pull his rounds out. He'll pull his rounds out from the right. Put them in the main gun.
What does he do with the brass? Isn't there? It's a large shell casing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's about 120. So they'll actually fall onto like the floor, and you kind of just sweep them over.
Okay.
And then you got the tank commander above him. So go up a
For
little
the
bit.
people who are audio only, enjoy this experience.
Yeah, right. Bear with us here.
Yeah. Sorry, you should probably switch over now because this is awesome. We're learning about Abrams tanks.
Oh, they're incredible. So that's the tank commander there.
Yep.
He can do pretty much everything the gunner can do.
Who's probably right in front of him? I'm assuming that's
Yeah, the gunner's right in front of him. I mean, that's the best job in the tank.
When you fire it, is it a button or is it a trigger?
So they're called Cadillacs.
Okay.
So it's like a, I guess it's kind of like an aircraft. You got like your little.
That's a Sabo round. That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
a Sabo round, yeah. It's kind of like an airplane. How you do
Oh,
that?
Michael, there it is, right up there. Go to the upper left.
Yeah, that's the gun, and that's a gunner right there.
One more. God damn it, Michael! Don't make me come over there.
Yep. So
Look
that's-
at the interesting screen. This
it's
would be your
incredible.
position, Michael, because it has screens.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
cow.
incredible.
All right.
I mean, the technology in these things. I mean, it's incredible.
One of the most fascinating things to me about this is the speed with which they can hold the turrets, like the ability for that
it's-
thing to like
You can keep that turret. I mean, spot on a target.
as you are hauling,
moving
ass.
around, jumping, doing anything
Yeah.
you want. 3,000 meters away, you can keep that right on the target, or 300 yards or whatever distance. But
If it's
yeah,
a non-tank on tank engagement, what are you guys really worried about in there? Is there any? I mean, I would assume maybe a large IED, a landmine.
So one of my gunners, when I first joined active, he got blown up on deployment. The actual turret of the tank can separate, and he had some serious problems with this. When you get blown up, it can actually separate.
Is that by design? To maybe release overpressure, or is that just the way it goes? Maybe
I
the
couldn't
weak
tell you,
link.
honestly. Yeah. But I know part of his turret, it's separated. Some of the turrets completely separated. Yeah, killed the whole crew. All sorts of
Can
stuff.
you even fathom the size of the charge it would require to do that?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, you're familiar with MRAPs, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have seen what is left over, and the estimate on the buried HME, which is homemade explosive in Afghanistan, was somewhere near 1,500 pounds.
It's insane.
It flipped an MRAP hundreds of feet into the air
That's insane.
and inverted the V hole. I mean,
it's crazy.
instantly fatal. But
Unbelievable.
yeah, I mean, it's and that's with the V hole, which I mean, there's ways to overmatch that easily. These are flat
The Caymans,
bottom-
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
these
what
are
we use,
flat
the
bottoms,
Caymans,
right?
Yeah, totally flat. Yep.
Yeah, which is overmatch on that. It's like a Humvee. It's like 4 pounds to overmatch
Yeah.
a Humvee.
Oh, it's awful. They're actually almost the opposite of a V-hole because, they're flat, but then on the sides they kind of go in. And it's, that's the scariest thing is getting blown up in one of those.
Other than that, though, is there anything out there that you guys are really worried about if you got all the hatches closed? Like small arms fire is not going to...
No, that does nothing.
Yeah. How about like an RPG-7?
RPG, yeah, it can.
Okay.
If it gets between the tank and the hole and the turret,
So you're
there's a
talking
little
about having
gap there.
Steven Seagal sniping you with an RPG.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Because in my experience, those things don't fly very straight. If one of those actually hits there,
luck.
we're going to put that in the luck category, not the skill category.
Absolutely, yeah. Other than that, I guess other tanks. I mean, that's really it. But I mean, who are we fighting that has other tanks right now?
Okay. Did you, when you joined the Army, where were you at? Were you living when you joined?
West of Cleveland. And we'll circle back to how this all ended up. But west of Cleveland, probably 50 miles, country town. So I actually grew up in the city of Cleveland, in this really horrible situation. I have 12 siblings. House got raided by the DEA. Oh, it's a crazy story. We all got put in foster care. And I went from
These are blood siblings? Or okay.
All the same mother, yeah. 12 siblings, probably, 20 dads? No, I'm just kidding. A lot more dads than...
Maybe 20 participants, but...
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, so...
How was that growing up in that situation?
I mean, it was bad.
Did you know it was as bad as it was when you were in it, or do you have a better optic on it now?
I think the very moment that I determined my life is not normal was when I woke up in the middle of the night. I was really hungry. My sister Ashley, my brother Aaron, we all three woke up and we were really hungry.
Where do you fall in that 12?
Right about in the middle.
Okay.
We lost one, unfortunately. But we woke up really hungry and we were like, hey, let's go get some food. And we opened the fridge and there was very limited food in there, but we took some food out and my mother came out and she beat us. I mean, it was so bad, but I remember getting beat thinking like, why is this happening? All I want I want some food.
Do you remember how old you were at the time?
At that time I was probably 4 because that was just before,
Yeah, hungry kids at 4 are going to go try to find food.
And I remember things like, gang members being in the house, things I remember, like my sisters, these people are, the most resilient people I ever met in my life. I would remember things like, why is my sister leaving? You know what I mean? Things like that. My brother, like, why is my brother always next door? Where did he get this Nintendo from? Stuff like that. And we can all obviously,
connect the dots,
draw our own conclusions here. But, so I went from that. And then I remember my brother, Aaron, he's also a veteran. He is hands down my favorite person, other than my wife and my kids. He went to Afghanistan, did all that. And I remember we were playing in the front yard one time and a drunk driver was driving up and my other brother, the one that passed away, grabbed him by his arm, pulled him away from this tree just as this drunk driver hit him, but it still pinned him between the tree and the car. But the way, he pulled him out, it was apparently if he didn't do that, my brother would have died. He pulled him out just enough to break a leg.
Injured but not pinned.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was pinned, but he wasn't injured, but pinned by the leg instead of by
the torso.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that happened, and my mother got a bunch of money for that, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she ended up spending it all. So after that incident, the DEA came in and they closed the house down, put us all in foster care, and
individually, or did they?
So this is another reason I'm probably the luckiest person on earth. I really truly count my blessings. Just 2 towns away, we went from the city to the country, like a bunch of land. My parents took about half of us, mostly the boys, and then they took the other half. They were cousins. So just a town away, coming from Cleveland, 40 miles west, of all the things that could have happened, us getting all sent to separate homes and this and that, we were a town away. Not only that, but it was the country, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers. I mean, I still can't believe it sometimes how lucky I got. But anyway, a lot of people in the foster care system, the You know, I should go back a little bit. I did foster care for about 4 years. And we were kind of all in the same area, but once we got adopted 4 years later.
By the same family?
Yeah, by the same family. That's when it really, But anyway, a lot of people in those situations, like who adopt children and stuff, we all know what a sick world it is, what sick world it can be. A lot of people, they might have bad intentions, but the people that adopted me, Andy, I mean, the best people I ever met in my life. I mean, they are such good people. So my mom and dad, and they just came in there with love, Jesus, took us to church, and I just, yeah.
How do you view, what kind of impact did that upbringing have on you as you were getting older? I mean, I know indirectly people who could describe that type of situation, and let's say there were 12, just to use the number of siblings that you have, and half of them were broken and destroyed by that situation.
Yes.
Maybe one or two flourished, but lifelong, I don't know the right word. I would just, other than impact, lifelong impact given the situation that they grew up in.
Yeah, so it affected like my sisters and my brothers. I guess it kind of all affected the same way, but I owed my parents, I owed them success, Do
you feel that way because of what they were able to provide for you in contrast to where you came from?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're such good people, and I owed them success. And I want to talk about how this ties into my patriotism, because you have people out there complaining about this country, this and that, poor me, I'm living, off the government, whatever. This country set me up every way possible. I've stayed out of trouble. The system recognized a problem with my family, when we were young, and they did something about it, put me in this incredible situation that, out in the country, anything a kid could want, it doesn't happen.
There are more stories on the other side of that coin than there are, I think, than what you're describing. Yeah.
100%. And I just, especially lately, sometimes I stop and I just think about how lucky I got in life.
Yeah. Well, you can feel lucky and still complain about the things that suck.
Sure. Yeah.
I think, and that doesn't bother me. What starts to irritate me a little bit, and then I kind of just let go of it, is when people refuse to acknowledge anything that is actually going well, or like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, this country has a history of fill in the blank, and so therefore everything about it sucks. It's
yeah.
Everything? Everything sucks?
You and I have been places. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to look at people and
just call the balls and strikes. Be like, hey, we're doing amazing things here, but also over here, we're an absolute train wreck. We should probably dedicate some time there.
On it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things in my family that kind of plagues us, I would say more with my wife's family, is, obviously politics, but sometimes, I get frustrated because I think where I came from, where I've been in the world. And I see people out there who are really struggling, I know that feeling. And somebody might complain because, I don't know, they're late to work, or, this or that, or their coffee's not hot enough. And sometimes I just want to stop and just, go off the deep end on them. But I don't know.
Do you think it helps you as a police officer and with the context and empathy that you probably can have when you see other people that are just...
Yep.
I'm very good friends with a lot of law enforcement officers, and you'd be hard pressed to find somebody more supportive than law enforcement than myself. But I'm also honest about some of the patterns that I see. And one of the patterns that I see is that because of we'll call them population groups that officers often deal with, and the nature of repeat customers.
Yeah. I'm not here to sugarcoat things.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
What they end up, it seems like, and this is an outside perspective, I've never walked a foot in anybody else's shoes, but it jades them towards almost all of society because of the amount of time that they spend in that. And that also, I think, can be very dangerous as well.
Absolutely. My friend Rob that you met, we met on the SWAT team together, and he was a Marine, and him and I have a lot of the same opinions on these things. I noticed that cops that are veterans, especially combat vets, in the combat arms mostly, who were really, in the true military, well, I shouldn't say that, but
I was going to say you were going to get annihilated in the comments if we don't.
No, not the true military, the true front lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The ground pounders, the ones out there, kicking indoors and not sitting on a fob, getting fat. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway,
But let's be clear: a lot of those people who don't ever leave the fob, we require them to help us to prepare to do our
Yes,
job. Right?
absolutely.
Everybody has a role. All service is honorable,
Correct.
but it's
Yes.
different.
And they all
is, I think,
signed
what
up.
you-
It is very different,
Yeah.
and there's a different mentality that goes with it.
Yeah.
But so him and I were talking about like those kind of cops that you see come from those aspects of the military. It's noticeable that the level of respect they have for people, for Americans. I mean, what better job is it than being there for these people, for Americans, people you love, people that were so good to me, took me out of those horrible situations. Like, I can't think of a better job than showing up for them, at their worst. I mean, I had a murder not too long ago that I was on, and there were 3 kids there, and I have 3 kids, and horrible domestic violence situation, and the guy ended up taking her life. Young girl, I mean,
Why are all the DV stories so horrible?
man, it's-
As soon as you said that, I knew it was going to be horrible. Again, based off the relationship I have with the
Yeah.
local law enforcement.
This
DVs are the worst. They all say the same thing.
This was probably my top 5 worst calls I've been on. I mean, it definitely is. He did this, and there were 3 kids there. There were 3 kids.
Yeah. Before you go any further, let me
Yeah.
ask you this. Was it the first instance?
No, and it never is. It never
That's
is.
why I ask, because God damn it.
It's crazy.
The repetitive themes in that. Or they
Mm-hmm.
go to a DV call, and this is obviously broad, not specific.
Yeah.
Go to a DV call. Somebody gets
Mm-hmm.
the bracelets. Then somebody doesn't want to press charges. And then 2 weeks later, the same thing happens
Yep.
again.
You're
And
speaking
then
my language. Yep.
Yeah.
Know it all too well.
Yeah.
It's
And so here's what my friends will say.
Yeah.
It never de-escalates. Whatever happened the last time becomes the new foundation for what is going to be the floor.
You sure you weren't a cop before?
Dude, well, I just listen to them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because
That's how it works.
I'm fascinated to try to understand this. And apparently this is, there's a lot of tie over when it comes to substance abuse. Like if people, let's say they were deeply into alcoholism, if they relapse,
Yeah.
they almost like it's where they were is the starting point. So it's like it edges up and it edges up, but it never goes back
No,
the other
it doesn't.
direction.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And these are things if I'll go on a domestic violence call, I will say, like, listen, the majority of the time it's the man,
Yeah.
let's call, strikes. It's usually the man, being the abuser and whatnot. And I'll pull the lady aside and I'll say, listen, it's going to get worse. If you don't stop this now, do what you got to do. It's going to get worse 9 times out of 10. And they usually brush it off,
Yeah.
don't show up for court or, it's bad. But that one I had, that murder, ended up, he called and said he accidentally shot his wife. And so I was under the impression that I was first on the scene myself, actually, and a deputy. So I had thought he accidentally did this. So I was a little empathetic,
Yeah.
looking back more than I should have been.
I wonder if he's ever heard of the 5 basic principles to handling a firearm.
5.
Michael and I were, what was that,
Crazy.
2 Fridays ago?
Yeah.
A guy was showing his daughter his
Oh, yeah.
weapon, and I'm like, I don't.
There's a little more to that one.
Well, also, again, if you follow just one of those 5 rules,
It
you're
wouldn't have happened.
probably going
Would
to
not
be
have
okay.
happened.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Accidentally shot my wife.
Isn't that
Okay.
crazy? Yeah, so he came out and, ran out of the house and, I accidentally shot her, this and that.
Oh, so he was playing it up.
Yeah, and I actually believed the guy for a minute. The call came out, it was an accident. Pretty quickly, though, I realized, it was something else. Anyway, I get in there, and she's laying on the floor, and, she's dead. He actually put the pistol in her mouth and executed her, in their living room.
Which, for people who have never been around that has a signature,
Yeah. it
shall we
does.
say? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that there were 3 kids there, and I had to walk these kids out,
Jeez.
and their mother's laying there dead on the floor, and
What do you do there? Do you try to make sure that they don't get like line of sight?
yeah, well, that we made it pretty clear. Some of the, we had other units show up, and,
Yeah.
kind of block it, and
Protect them to the best. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, and they're kind of asking about it, and you kind of obviously brush it off there to make it less than it is. But yeah, and you walk him out, and then he actually just got sentenced. He went to prison. He's maxed out. He's never getting out. But now these 3 kids, I mean, they don't have a mother or a father, and
Yeah.
something as simple as like just walking away, cooling down, figuring things out tomorrow, like, from the female aspect, like, let's just cool down, let me separate, I'll think more about this tomorrow, my plan. And there is help out there. I mean, it's just, it could have prevented all that.
Hurt people, man.
So many people were affected by that. Some of these officers, that,
I don't see how you could do that job and not have a little bit of a jaded perspective, but I think it has to be reminded constantly, like, hey, just so you know, not everybody is like this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as being overseas. You cannot think that like you see a kid on a bike, oh, is he bringing a bomb to blow him? You cannot, to a degree, I guess it's in the back of your mind, but you will absolutely burn yourself out.
You will. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that kind of like, I wanted to talk about this too. I think things like that, you see things like that, and we've seen our share of, death and whatnot in the military, but being here in America, it's like, it's almost, I think it's harder. I think the things you see overseas are worse. Like, Sergeant McGee, Frizzell and I, when we deployed together, he got killed. That going to a service for one of your brothers, that was one of the worst things I ever had to do. Not even just the fact that he got killed is, that fact in itself is awful, but just being there with everybody that, like, you're burying this guy, or not burying him, but, having this memorial for him, that was awful. So that kind of stuff, you see worse things overseas, as far as, trauma and whatnot and violence.
Yeah, but you get to come home from those.
You get to come home.
You guys, and again, this is from talking to my friends. They don't even recognize sometimes that they're doing this. We'll be hanging out and whatever. We're gonna go up to Whitefish to go snowboarding. Like, oh yeah, I worked a hit and run over there. I and it's I understand it would come off as callous to somebody who didn't understand why they describe it the way that they do, but I also understand it's a coping mechanism. They'll say things like, oh yeah, I had to scrape a kid off the sidewalk. And they don't realize what they're saying.
No,
and I understand,
no.
and it's like, if they're around me, like, okay, like, cool, I understand what's going on. You throw somebody else in the vehicle who didn't understand their background or didn't have that context, they're going to look at you like you're a complete
nuts.
Like, do you collect human heads? Do you wear a belt made out of skin, John Wallace? Like,
absolutely.
Take it easy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That and like where I work now, I work in a smaller agency now, and I ended up moving back, towards Cleveland after my divorce. And I applied for my hometown, and they hired me right away. This first place I applied, and they hired me. So I work in my hometown, and I went to a call last year, a suicide. Guy took a shotgun to his head. I pull up to the driveway, and the guy that pulls up immediately says, "You're so-and-so's brother." I don't want to say my sister's name, but he was like, "You're so-and-so's brother." And I'm thinking, I couldn't remember who this guy was, and turns out I knew the family. I knew the guy that did it. So we go into the shed where his head is no longer a head.
Yeah.
And there's, brain matter everywhere.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah, but it's also really cool working in your hometown when you do something cool, and I don't know, you take care of somebody and, they know who you are, and, they can thank you, or not necessarily thank you, but they can, you can feel the appreciation more.
Yeah,
not that I'm looking for it.
You can see the impact too.
You can see the impact, yeah.
Totally unrelated question, but you got to be thinking about this. Did you have any hesitation getting married based off of your upbringing? Like, did you have obviously you weren't living with or largely raised by your biological mother or father. Correct. So you actually did have a good example from your parents, to use your terms. But did the memory of your biological mother in that situation, did that impact at all your willingness to enter into a marriage and have kids of your own?
Probably, more than I'd probably like to admit. But I don't know. I saw what a mother and a father shouldn't be. Yeah. And I saw what they should be. So I think again, my parents that adopted me, just showed me the complete opposite. They showed me what real just love is, and something I hadn't seen for the first 8 years of my life, you know, and with good intentions. Like, these are good country people, like lots of land. And like I said, I lived in the ghetto of Cleveland, going to like this huge chunk of land with muscle cars, you know, trucks, dirt bikes, go-karts. I can't even tell you how lucky I got in life. And that's just one little portion of my life that it's the reason I love my country so much. You know, everything I've done, I've stayed out of trouble for the most part. I didn't get caught, but no, I'm kidding.
That's how it goes as a young man.
Yeah, right.
My kids are not as good at it as I was.
At not getting caught?
Yeah. Let's just say I'm really lucky that I have good relationships with
yeah, law enforcement. Yeah, seriously. That's funny.
Every once in a while I'll get a little heads up.
Yeah, no kidding. Every once in a while I'll give the heads up. No, I'm kidding.
But I tell you what, I'm sure my parents got heads up too. Like that's kind of the deal. You got to pay that forward a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do that. I'm very, very conscious about that.
Yeah.
And you know,
not everybody deserves a heads up. Like there's things where it's like,
correct.
No, this isn't a heads up issue, but also not everybody needs to get like manhandled and roughed up.
Absolutely. You know? Yeah. Like I said, coming from the military, I have an appreciation for America. And you know,
where'd the patriotism come from, you think?
I think it started just being out in the country growing up, like dirt bikes and all that. I think my father letting me drive his old pickup truck in the yard. It was a stick shift. I was probably 12 years old. Like, this is really cool. A lot of kids don't get to do this, you know? So I think that's probably what sparked it, you know, all that. But when I joined the Army, like when I was 18 and, you know, I joined the tank corps, and that's a rugged life. I mean,
is that what you joined the Army to do? Because this is
tanks,
post 9/11. How'd you land on the Army and tanks? Other than obviously the M1 is
a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
So I actually went in, and I didn't know there were jobs. Like, I didn't know you could do this. I thought you were all going to be infantry, right? So I went in there, and my sister had already enlisted. She was, I think, at the 82nd at this time. Yeah, she was. She finished basic, the 82nd. And she's like, don't go infantry. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then my dad came, you know, the recruiter, he's like, why don't you try tanks or something? So I was like, yeah, I'll do tanks. They were giving out bonuses. 2007, the height of the war. I was like, yeah, I'll do tanks. They seem pretty cool, you know. So I signed up. I think I shipped out 2 weeks later. It was on that fast track, yeah. After I left that recruiter's office, when I signed those papers, I think I had my first panic attack in life, realizing what I'd done. Like, crap.
Yeah.
I really just signed up. I'm going to go to war. You know, who knows what's going to happen. So anyway, I did that. And then just seeing how cool these tanks were, I fell in love with these things. It was tough though. I went to Korea, and then I went to Iraq too. Mm-hmm. And which is funny because when I deployed, I was sent to the infantry company as an infantry platoon. So that's where I met Mike, my one buddy. Actually, I met him in Korea. And we kind of went everywhere together.
So what does that mean? You guys, as the tanks, supported the infantry company,
yeah, essentially? They were doing this thing where, like, they weren't really using tanks anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite, you know, busy enough. But so they sent all the tankers to the infantry companies. So there was a name
without
for
the tanks.
Without the tanks.
That's not nearly as fun.
It wasn't nearly as fun, no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. So, yeah, I think we used the tanks twice overseas, and we didn't get to fire them.
We had a few instances where we had tanks on four corners.
Oh.
And, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Were they tanks or were they Bradleys?
Both.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have definitely
cool.
run past an M1 in Iraq. I'm like, oh, that thing's bitchin'.
Oh, it's a sight to see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just incredible.
But you want to talk external blocking positions outward? I'm like, I actually think we're pretty good externally.
Oh, dude. I can tell you. Those tanks are they're incredible.
Yeah.
And the technology in those things, I mean, these Chinese tanks, these Russian tanks, all that. I mean, they couldn't shake a stick at the things. These American tankers are so motivated. I mean, so, like, I would say, like, let me give you an example. Like, your average SWAT guy, like, his goal, well, not his goal, but his fantasy maybe, I don't know, is like saving a hostage or, you know, an active shooter, taking him out. Like, that's like, this is what SWAT guys under. That's what they're trained for, you know. I want to save some lives, you know, in a cool tactical way. Whereas, like, a doctor might want to work on a, you know, transplant, save a life that way. Tankers, like, they want to destroy everything. Like, my platoon sergeant, when he was in the invasion, I mean, the stories he would tell me, like, you did what to a what? Like, main gun round to who, to what,
I have seen a main gun round engage a single individual.
That was probably my platoon sergeant back in the day.
It was technically it was in a building, so they could probably get away with saying they were engaging a fighting position.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was more than one person in that fighting position.
I don't know if I was, when I got there, I was like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Not that I'm afraid to do my job, but I just was like, wow, I want to go to heaven. Like I was raised as a Christian. I don't want to get too, I don't want to be on, I don't want to take anybody out with a main gun around is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, so they were, everything was tanks, just lots of firepower, and you don't want to cross a tank or, in combat. I mean, they will, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. Were you thinking at all about law enforcement while you were in, or is that something
I was not.
Okay.
So after I left active in 2011, I was pretty messed up. I had a couple bad experiences over there, or just in my 4 years of active.
Yeah. You talking about combat experiences overseas?
I had a few,
Yeah.
I wasn't, obviously it wasn't, a Ramadi or a Fallujah or anything when I was there.
Don't get into the competitive suffering.
Yeah.
Right?
And the other people have told me this.
I hear guys do, it wasn't as bad as what you did. And like, okay, first off, everybody's different and everybody has I have been in situations, call it 6 people for ease of math.
Yeah.
And one egg is completely scrambled. And on the other side of that, one guy's like, what are you talking about? That was like a Tuesday. There should never be competitive suffering.
Yeah. I guess I've been told that before.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you can't help, certain things. And I was 18 and I wasn't ready for some of the things I saw, like IEDs, rocket attacks.
What was the stuff that stuck with you the most? Do you think the ones that had the largest impact on you?
So Sergeant McGee getting killed.
Yeah. So loss of a close friend. Were you there in that environment, or he was just somebody that you knew?
He was actually my friend Mike that you met. They were at the same base, and we were at a little patrol base with just our infantry company at the time. So it happened at a base, not too far away. But going to that memorial service, a couple of other things that stuck out to me, like my platoon sergeant and my platoon leader at the time. And this is when I realized, like, this made me very, very patriotic. When the first time we took rockets, we were in MRAPs and we were pulling into the base where McGee had gotten killed. And we're pulling in there and we're just dismounting. I think we were getting ready to go get some food or something. We started taking rounds, the 107s or whatever they are.
Just indirect fire.
Yeah, indirect. And Sergeant LeChance, it was his name, Lieutenant Romo. As these rounds are coming in, they're standing outside. As these rounds are coming in, yelling at us to get back in our trucks. Standing there, right there in harm's way. These things are hitting. They waited for every single troop to be secured before they got in their vehicles. And
That's the
secured
move,
themselves.
man.
That was the moment where I was like, this is... I get goosebumps thinking about it now. Again, good people looking out for me in my life. So yeah, that happened. You would roll into bases and see trucks, blown to smithereens. And we did some patrols with an ODA team, which is the Green Berets. For those that don't know, and they would do things that were just. One of them got blown up, and I watched this entire crew walk out of their Humvee like nothing happened. I couldn't. Things like that. It's like, holy shit, the U.S. military, like it's incredible. The things we're capable of.
Well, the reason I asked you, it's interesting. I've spent a lot of time talking with psychiatrists and psychologists about the human reaction to stress. And first off, there is no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right. So, and there's no reason to compare or even worry about why one thing bothers somebody or it doesn't bother somebody else. But it's interesting. It almost seems sometimes the stuff that is the most damaging broadly are the things that are totally out of your control. Meaning you're watching. It's not even necessarily directly happening to you, but you're watching something and you have no control over it. So therefore you can't escape it.
That's a big problem with cops. Is like not having that control over certain things.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't necessarily get to choose when you encounter violence.
Correct.
And when I talk to these people who are experts in this, not that it makes it better, but it seems to be that there is a lower incidence of the trauma affecting long term, when you are the one who chooses and initiates it, they call it the locus of control. It's where that locus of control sits that it can have such an amazing impact. And I don't want to say positively, because that's not what I mean, but it's less sticky if you are the one who are if you are deciding and in control. Like I look at my old job, high 90th percentile of the time, I got to choose when violence was initiated or when I was exposed to it.
Yeah.
The people that I would look at from a distance, specifically on my last deployment in 2010, I would watch these guys, and their job was to minesweep Route 1. And this is the same route where that 1,700 pounds of HME, and they're just sitting in the back of vehicles with no control over anything. And I would watch them and just look at them. And of course, I can't speak for them, but I can say from my own eyes, they looked miserable.
Oh, just think about, how that affected them for life. So.
But again, the locus of control.
It's crazy. I mean, I respond to calls and like I said, my agency isn't. I work in a really weird agency because it's a smaller town, but we're between like our neighboring agencies are like two very busy cities with gangs and this and that. And a couple, of the calls I've been on that are significant, a couple of the more significant ones were mutual aid. So I would get called by another agency to go here, do this, and like, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I lost my track where I was going with that.
We were just talking about exposure to essentially trauma.
Okay, trauma. Yeah,
that's control of it. Yeah.
Well, that's perfect because some of that trauma I've been exposed to. I tend to forget what I'm talking about sometimes. But anyway, just especially working where you grew up, you see a lot of people that and this and that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's different when it's here because these are the people that saved my life on so many different occasions. Seeing them suffer and seeing.
So how'd you land on it as you were getting out of the military?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I actually joined after active duty. I joined the reserves and as an MP. Horrible career move.
So military police.
Horrible.
See,
career
you already had a badge and gun. You're good. You don't have to go to the academy, right? You just walk off. You're like, I don't know if you know.
Yeah. I'm already certified.
I'm an MP now.
Yeah.
Is there an academy for the MP?
Yeah, it's like the one I went to was like maybe a month long or something. It was actually pretty high speed. It was cool. Some of the things we got to do, the vehicle, driving and all that. But so I joined like the MP Corps as, in the reserves of the National Guard. And that was like, for anybody listening, or watching this, I don't recommend going active duty, serving with the infantry and the tank corps to like a reserve MP unit because it's just, you're going to be disgruntled.
Well, how often you work in T, right? Is that like the 1 weekend a month?
Yeah, the 1 weekend a month. Yeah.
So what were you doing in the off time?
What was I doing at the time?
Because obviously you didn't get your pension or anything like that. So
yeah, right. Well, I was working for the VA at one point.
Really, what were you doing for that?
Yeah, I did. I worked in the mental health counseling clinic.
Okay.
I was just like a little, secretary, if you will.
Okay.
But it was federal, so it was cool. So I did that. So I actually did 17 years total in the military. The 4 active, and then the rest, reserves or guard. I did 17 and I got out to politics. Again, coming from the active duty combat arms to reserve, National Guard, MP, the levels of discipline, that I don't know. You know what it is.
People take it less seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes a weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. And having said that, I was never a reservist. Yeah. I'm talking about, again, only what I see, which is a broad description. I'm not negatively talking about anybody, but I also know a bunch of people who are in the National Guard, and I'm repeating what they have told me.
Yeah, it's the National Guard. I would compare it to something like the Navy. No, I'm just kidding.
That's okay.
I'm just teasing. No, it's
the Navy is unique. Just because you didn't have 13 buttons on your pants, you don't have to be jealous.
I did tank.
Which is bastard when you're hammered and you got to take a piss.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, the duty belt too. When you got to handle your business, and you get a call and you got to run out there with your. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, so yeah, I did that, and it was just. Obviously, I'm a male that I like guns and I like all that, and a little more on the conservative side, socially liberal, I would say.
Same.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of down the middle.
I think that's a perfect way to be, honestly.
I think most people are actually like that.
In the middle, more in the middle. Yeah.
Yes.
Just leave everybody alone. Like, I don't want to get too political, but like, if you want to do what you want to get an abortion, you want to do whatever you want, do what you want to do. Don't rub it in anybody's face.
And also, don't try to force me
Don't try to force it.
align with your
Yeah.
beliefs, and we're probably going to be okay because I can respect yours from a distance. You can
Yeah.
respect mine, and we're going to be all right.
Absolutely. Just leave everybody alone. You know, if you want to take care, do whatever you got to do. Just, you know, do it on your own. You know, it's no one's business. Anyway, so when I joined that MP unit, I got stuck with my first line leader was a female. My second line was a female. You know, another female, all the way up to like the battalion commander. Mm-hmm. And I firmly believe their mission was to, and unfortunately I don't, was to take care of women over men. And I hate to say that, but like I said, I'm just going to tell it.
Some people are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were so many instances where, like, you know, this man who was good at his job would just, he'd be stuck, you know, and not getting promoted or this and that. And these females would just out promote and this and that. And
Yeah, people may
it wasn't
not
fair.
Well, life isn't fair, but also
correct. Yes.
inside of that system, the people above you can have some impact on that. And I would love to say that everybody in the military is altruistic, and they don't align like that. That isn't the case. I would say it's probably not the majority, but I think it is also very fair and accurate to say that there are pockets of isolation where that is 100% true.
I saw it, and it was sick.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is so good at his job. I mean, he's a go-getter. Never late, nothing. He's always, you know, just squared away. Then you have a woman who isn't, but she's, you know. That also being said, I had a platoon sergeant later who was a female. Her name was Tara, and she kicked ass. I mean, she was awesome.
This is why I'm a fan of meritocracies.
Yeah, right.
I could give a shit
She kicked
what's between
ass.
your legs. If you can meet the standard, like, I am all about it.
There are standards, yes.
Yeah.
You meet them, you're good to go. And
Yeah.
she met those standards, and I'm telling you, she took care of all of us. And I owe a lot to her, too. Like, that group of women before, I had been accused of calling one of them the B word. As I look you in the eyes now, I didn't say it. If I said it, I would tell you I said it. I didn't say it. It's a name, whatever, not a big deal. I was under investigation for 3 years because of that. 3 years I couldn't go to drill. Like,
I think I've called a few hundred men that.
Yeah, and they probably laughed at you and call you a name back.
I think it was just our opening greeting.
Yeah, that or...
What's up, bitch?
Exactly. It's funny, yeah.
However, I don't think that applies equally to women. I
Yeah,
do
no,
not think we can use said greeting.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Usually in the combat arms, the worse the word, you know, the better the word. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's a compliment.
Actually, if
yeah.
they're being kind to you, you're a little bit worried that something's wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, why isn't anybody making fun of me? They're making fun of everybody else. I'm being excluded.
Yeah.
They don't like me.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's the healthiest environment, everybody. I'm just saying that's the way it
They're
is.
good at their jobs.
Yeah.
So that happened. I was under investigation for 3 years because of this. And like the craziest part about it is like this woman said that I said it in front of a bunch of people, and like other people were like, no, he didn't say it.
Yeah.
He didn't call you the B word because I didn't call you the B word.
I feel like that would be a short investigation as opposed to 36 months.
You would think. So in the infantry, on active duty, the tank corps, they would have laughed and said, yeah, let's get real here, you know. Well, that's not how it is in the MP Corps and the National Guard. I was out for 3 years because of it. I ended up accepting like a LOR, letter of reprimand or something, because at that point, like, it's not even worth it anymore, you know. It's like, you know, I'm going to get out anyway. A little piece of paper that says I called somebody a B word that I didn't actually call them that. Whatever, no big deal. So that put a bad taste in my mouth. I got out at 17 years. So, you know, whatever. Is what it is. But yeah, so going from that active duty combat arms to the reserves MP, I would not recommend for anybody.
When did you actually go through Civilian Law Enforcement Academy?
Okay, so 2016.
Okay. So you were still doing the National Guard?
I was still doing, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And that was the thing that drew me to law enforcement was when I first became an MP, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of cops in this
Yeah, it's a
unit.
good exposure.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that. I was the vice president of my class in the academy. And I think the only reason I was because I had the military experience. And I think my my academy commander, he had walked in a few times just at the right time where he heard me like maybe mentoring somebody. Or
This is a staff member?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
a captain in the
Okay.
police department who ran the academy. And I think they walked in at just the right time, like a few times, where they heard me like maybe mentoring somebody, and they thought, oh, this guy might be a leader, you know. So they ended up making me like the academy vice president. The academy president, she's a federal agent now. She also kicks ass. This girl, yeah, she's awesome. But anyway, I did that. I did some corrections at the jail in Cleveland, Ohio.
How was that?
That was insane.
Yeah.
A lot of fighting.
Yes. I've heard some interesting stories about working in jails.
Yeah. So I did 3 years on the worst floor. So
is it as bad as the stories I've heard?
Cuyahoga County, it's awful. I mean, there was a guy that got beat to death when I was there.
By another inmate?
By another inmate. Beat
Wow.
this guy to death. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but again, when it comes back to people in your life that really took care of you with good intentions, my supervisor, former Marine guy, always looked out for me. I mean, he gave me everything I needed, you know, all the resources, this, that. So there were times like, I remember one guy, he had killed his girlfriend and his 2 kids. You can look this up. It's out there.
Do they put you in your own cell at least if you were arrested for that?
No, because it happened. I mean, there's murderers. The 10th floor of that jail is where I worked. I mean, they're all murderers. There's people on death row.
Holy cow.
There were cop killers up there that I would have conversations every day with. And I remember one time this guy, young guy, like 25 or something, killed his girlfriend and his 2 kids because his girlfriend was caught at the neighbor's house, some kind of relationship. So he went and killed them all.
Did he rationalize that in his own head as if like I had no other choice?
The thing about, you know, where he grew up is crime like that, murder, you know, that culture it's normal. It's not really anything big to them.
Violence was the norm?
Yeah, it's a norm.
Wow.
You just guns, shooting people. I mean, that's how you grew up. But anyway, I remember one time, the biggest thing in the jail is respect. Like, if you talk to somebody with respect, they'll generally be cool. But sometimes you just can't avoid it. Sometimes they're having a bad day, whatever, and they're, you know, it's bad. But anyway, I remember one time I said something to him, and he looked at me and he said, I'm going to kill you. And he came at me. And that supervisor I told you about came in at the exact same, the perfect time. He just happened to be checking on me at the perfect time. And this guy just stopped because, you know, you're a Marine guy and he had a reputation. You don't mess with this guy. And came in at the perfect time, and the guy just kind of like, and he was a big old dude, and he probably would have killed me. Yeah. And he came in at the right time and de-escalated things, and yeah.
What happens to somebody in jail if they make that threat to the officer working there? I mean, they're already in jail. Would you send them to the jail inside of the jail?
Actually, yeah. I think it's called the hole. Yeah, the jail inside of the jail. Basically, you're on lockdown for the entire day, you know, because you'll have like your pods, with maybe like you'll have like your common area and then surrounded by cells. So
I guess it can get a little bit worse. I mean,
yeah. That job, like being a corrections officer, that is hands down the worst, hardest, least. I mean, that's the worst job ever.
If you were to try to write a job description that would keep 99.9% of people away, I think it would be the corrections officer in jail.
Adult babysitters. I mean, it's
yeah.
Oh, it's
things getting thrown at them. We don't have to be specific about what it is. Let's just say it's not.
Oh, yeah. In your eyes. Oh, and not even just that. Like, there's a political aspect to, like, using force on humans.
Yeah.
I remember one time, that same supervisor, this guy headbutted him. He was standing behind. My supervisor was standing behind this guy. And
he whipped the head.
Hit him in the head. And he hurt him bad.
Yeah.
So what I did is I came around this dude, and I put my arm like this across his chest.
Yep.
And I took him down. Well, on all the cameras, it looked like I was putting him in a headlock.
Yep.
Which is a big no-no.
Why?
Lethal force headlock. Yeah.
Do you mean a choke or a headlock? These are two different things.
I'm sorry. A choke. Excuse me. So.
Is it lethal?
Yes. In law enforcement.
Is it lethal?
It doesn't have to be, but.
I mean, if you hold it for like 7 minutes.
Yeah, but 7 minutes on one person might be different than 7 minutes on another person. You know, it's all different. So.
You need to be able to render people unconscious.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah.
So I remember I took him to the ground, but I had my hand maybe on his chest.
There's a gap.
Yeah, there's a gap.
It wasn't an error or a blood choke.
Correct.
Yeah.
And out of all the cameras, there was one camera that caught me not putting my hand. You know, it caught the gap.
Yeah.
And it saved me. Like, who knows? I would have been fired. Who knows?
Oh man.
Yeah. So there's that.
Do you train?
I started jiu-jitsu recently.
Why just recently? You touch people professionally.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wanted to impress you. No, I'm kidding.
Do you guys train the two dudes off? What belt are you?
I'm sorry?
What belt are you?
I don't train like that. No.
What do you train like? Taekwondo? Aikido?
Lots of guns.
Do you guys train jiu-jitsu?
No.
You guys are both cops, aren't you?
No, sir.
He's
No?
a former infantry guy, the one that I was on active with.
All right.
He's a guy. We were on SWAT together.
Unbelievable. What are you going to do if you can't go lethal and your taser doesn't work? Do you see
You
red?
could pray.
Use my hand.
Try that.
Oh, for the love of Christ.
Rob here.
I'd like to say that the reason wasn't that the nearest jiu-jitsu gym for us
Yep.
is 45 minutes.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Train with each other. You guys got to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't think that every cop should be a black belt at all. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But I do think if you could get most guys to a blue belt level, it would make you guys way better at
Yeah,
your jobs.
for sure.
Because you can control the vast majority of
Yeah.
people at a blue belt.
Would you like to go into the whole police training and that whole thing that I'm so
Yes.
adamant about? Okay.
Yes.
So, Mr. Rob Toussaint here, him and I were in SWAT together. I mean, he's proven himself to himself, everyone else, time and time again. This man has never failed. As far as from
Because he hasn't wrestled yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he will. No kidding. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. So
Don't get me wrong. The entire time I was a SEAL, I didn't do any jiu-jitsu either.
No, none?
I don't. No, everybody
Wow.
thinks that SEALs know how to fight. I'm like, I absolutely.
And when you take one down, you're like a golden god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. We had overwhelming firepower
Yeah.
and numerical superiority was our technique.
Interesting.
And I look back, it was so dumb. So
Wow.
dumb.
No way.
Yeah, well, again, it's a misconception. So I'm tongue in cheek. I'm fucking with you, but at the same time,
Yeah,
I have
some-
nowhere to fuck with you from because I didn't. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I've been in quite a few fights hand in hand, and I didn't always win. Like it's
Yeah, that's how it
I'm a
goes.
cop. Like dude, I've gotten beat up before as a cop. Like
Yeah.
not beat obviously.
Well, there's no
horrible,
magic
but-
out there. You could be a
Yeah.
black belt and all of a sudden encounter a dude who was a bare knuckle boxing champion, and
will
let me tell you how
destroy
that's
you.
going to go.
Yeah. Yeah,
They
absolutely.
can give you your black belt back when you're in the hospital when you wake up.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Jeez. So there's the good thing about being a cop is like you have a radio and you have people around that'll not all, but
Yeah. No, I get it. It's a safety net. There's a little bit of a safety net.
There's a
yeah.
safety net, yeah. Last resort. I mean, I have a firearm if I need to use it. If I'm getting choked out or something.
Yeah.
I obviously have no problem using it. But
Oh, that's an interesting question. So if it is considered lethal force for an officer to apply that to a civilian, if a civilian tried to
Flip it?
do that to you,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. They're
I
trying
still
to
would
kill
say
you.
it's not lethal, but I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it can be. Well, I mean, water can be lethal. Let's be honest. There's a lethal
Yeah.
dose of water too. I get what they're saying, but I'm glad that it's at least a coin that cuts both directions.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing about like, I don't know. I guess our area, people realize that, they realize things that they're not, I don't know. Generally people support us for the most part where we're from. But yeah, so as far as like police training, again, I don't represent my department or anything like that. This is, my opinions. I think there's this huge like lack of training and it bothers me. I mean, it bothers me so much.
What would it take to fix it?
Obviously money, time, I guess, but
If you guys had more money, would you be able to find more time? Is this a matter of, say,
Yeah.
facilities, like, right? Because you could find efficiencies, whether it be additional facilities, bringing trainers to you.
yeah. I just think so money, obviously, but it is my firm belief, like your basic patrolmen, they don't, I mean, as far as like, let's talk about their firearms, like they don't train on them very often. They do their qualifications, annually. And like, I walk around my department and I'll look at people's, like, I'll see their optic on their weapon and like it's covered in dust.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, hey, let me see your weapon really quick. I'll dust it off. Cause not only like, that's not only going to save you, but that might save me, like,
Yeah.
I'll take the gun out, I'll oil it for him, clean it
Yeah,
up.
you may never need it, but if you do, that stuff has got to be
It's gotta
working.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of videos out there of things not working when they should.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I really like, it's sad to me that like there's not enough training. And you'll see, like, let's say there's like a vehicle pursuit and there's like 20 cops behind him or something, and the car crashes. What's the first thing you see? You see all these cops swarm this car, firearms drawn, every one of them flagging somebody. Like, not only that, like, and then they start shooting and there's cars driving by, and, you know, it's like, you can't be doing that. Like, what if you...
Yeah. It's a lot. I mean, honestly, they might be over their skis from a adrenaline perspective. I don't know what type of force on force training. I mean, again, it comes back to what you're exposed to and what is reinforced is going to inform performance in those moments. You got all the way up to the level of being a SWAT officer. Yeah. I guarantee you a SWAT officer in a vehicle pursuit is probably going to have a lower heart rate. Yeah. A better ability to articulate over the radio what's going on. Better skills. And then when the car chase ends, they're going to be more aware of those things. But what's that from? Additional training.
So, yeah. You know? So, Rob Toussaint, great guy. And this is, you know, him and I met on the SWAT team. And this is kind of what I want to tie into is, like, I wish every patrolman could have a week of SWAT training. Yeah. The things I learned in SWAT training, I mean, the discipline, the you know, just everything you learn. I mean, it's incredible. And I shouldn't say all SWAT teams are good, but, like,
it's at least additional training.
It's additional training, you know, with a firearm or with a carbine. Yep. So the team I was on, the City of Alliance, pretty renowned team. Joe Wire.
Was it an ancillary duty, or did they have a permanent team?
So it was a part-time team, but the cool part about it was, so Joe Wire, he was the commander. He has rubbed elbows with a lot of people, and, you know, it's paid off, you know. So he was able to set up this entire training facility in Alliance, Ohio, which is 60 miles south of Cleveland, near Canton, Ohio. And there's this entire, you know, training facility. I mean, it's incredible. I think his training program was rated 2 in the country recently for training facilities. City of Alliance, I mean, incredible. Do you know Tulam, Ronan?
I know who he is. I don't know.
Okay, so I met him. He came down there to train, or to do a commercial. We did commercials for Springfield Armory, which is really cool because they'd give us free guns.
That is a benefit.
Yeah, that was the pay for doing these commercials. Really cool. But anyway, so these, you know, incredible training facility, you know, big shoot house, long range, breaching. He was huge. Joe was huge on breaching, which, if you know, you get to an op and you can't get inside, you're screwed. So that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, going back to what you said about the training, the experience, calm under pressure, Rob, him and I were talking about this, you know, recently, hostage, a guy had a knife to his wife's throat, and he had started cutting her. Rob, and he told me he credits a lot of this to SWAT training and to Joe and, you know, the whole team. When you train so much, you don't have to think about certain things like your offset, you know, that he saw a threat, he engaged. This goes back to the, you know, not enough training, because your normal patrolman wouldn't know, like, wouldn't necessarily take offset into accountability. Or
does a normal patrolman train much on their carbine, or where you work? Do they have carbines in their cars at least?
Yeah. So my department is actually really good about that. We all have carbines. We're issued our own cars.
And all that's great, but like you said, like, if you're not, hey, my holdover at 25 yards or 7 yards versus 50 or 100.
200, whatever, you know. But anyway, like Rob, he knew, because of all this training, the muscle memory, you know, the SWAT training, you know, paid off. You know, he was able to save this lady's life. So things like that, you know, that normal patrolmen wouldn't have that training, you know, and I hate to say this, but a lot of patrolmen wouldn't have acted, you know. Yeah. Look at Uvalde. Do you know, like,
what have they actually come out and done a real full after, or at least law enforcement agencies getting that? Because I don't necessarily, well, I would want them to promote that far and wide, and I don't mean promote, but I mean disseminate. Yeah. But I can imagine them maybe doing so at a little bit more of a sensitive level, at least inside of law enforcement. Are they honest about what happened there? And I should say, more importantly, what didn't?
Well, I think somebody recently, one of the officers, I don't know if they got arrested or something happened. I know that.
One of the officers got arrested.
I think something happened. I don't want to say they got arrested if they didn't, but something happened where...
I will say this.
Or they got charged or something.
Some of my favorite YouTube videos are sheriffs pulling police officers over and they argue. First off, what kind of assholes do you have to be to pull over other people in marked police these guys.
Yeah. But on the flip side of that,
Here's the thing, though. They have millions of views, and I'm one of the people that I'm like,
oh,
what
I'm right
is
there too on
happening
the
here?
phone.
I have to watch this.
Oh yeah. This is like what I shouldn't do. No. But on the flip side of that, you know, the cops shouldn't have been doing 120 in a school zone, you know. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so Uvalde, what would you and I have done in this situation? I would have went in there so fast. Well, not so fast, but tactically.
I would have. Well, you run to the sound of the guns, man.
Exactly. I wouldn't have hesitated.
Yeah.
I would have been excited, like, and we save these children. You know?
I don't know if I would have been excited. I don't get excited in those moments. I feel a sense of obligation and duty.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have.
I know what you mean.
I would have been excited to save a child, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but in those moments, it seems as if, and again, I've never been in a situation where there was an active shooter in a school, but it seems from the outside that the move is reduce the amount of time that person or persons have access to the victims. How do you do that? You close the distance.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like I said, the SWAT guys look forward to, you know, saving children or this and that, you know, in those kind of situations. So, you know, things like that, like there was no excuse for those guys. I mean, I wasn't there again, but like you got to live with yourself after that, you know, like.
Which is a tough one.
It's a tough one, but you signed up to put yourself in harm's way. You
I
know?
still haven't. I haven't talked to anybody who was directly there. I've talked with some people there who were peripherally there.
What'd they say?
Well, they didn't say much, and that's why I ask. I don't know. Has there ever been like a thorough debrief that was disseminated to law enforcement? One of the questions I had was.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of lessons learned.
One of the questions I had was, and again, I'm not incredibly familiar with the architecture of the school.
Yeah.
Everybody's focused on what's going on in the hallway. Were there external windows that you could have, like, dude, like button hook around? Like, I will shoot somebody through a window. Like,
but that's maybe lack of training, you know?
Yeah, and you do get. I mean, you can get front side focus is real, and especially if there's a collection of people there. But I mean, like one outside of the box thinker who didn't want to wait in the hallway and it's like pieing off on windows. Again,
You're telling me there wasn't one guy there that.
Well, again, we're Monday morning quarterbacking the shit out of this, and I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to do that. But those are the questions like that I have. Like, what's the what's the layout of this building? What, like,
and that goes back to your training. You should know what every school looks like. Your SWAT teams,
and at least in your municipality.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you should be going like what we did. We went to these schools. We did.
Yeah, you
trained.
walkthroughs.
We trained. We did. You know, breach. We did everything. In these schools, so that if it came down to it, you know, we knew what the school looked like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, at least you're not going in completely blind.
Completely blind. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shit show, man.
It's sad. I'm sad. You know, all those kids and
Yeah.
a lot of lessons to be learned. But yeah, so I think you know, another thing that separates, you know, the SWAT guys and patrol is like you can shoot somebody, whatever, but like, can you not shoot somebody? Like, can you pay attention to that little detail that, oh, I don't have to shoot this person, or
I'd hope so.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's that SWAT stuff is like they show that's what you train for. Like, I don't know, maybe the guy's bolts locked back or something. You know, that's just a little example, but maybe I could just, you know, maybe I don't have to shoot this guy. Maybe, you know, there's just things you learn. You know, the discipline and you know whatnot that you wouldn't necessarily learn on patrol.
So how long have you been at it now as a police officer?
Say 9 years, going on 9.
9 years.
I work nights, I'm a full-time night shifter.
Do you like that? Because you sleep all day, essentially, right? Vampire schedule?
I would like to sleep all day. You know, I have children, and that's the worst part about it is like, you know, my kids, it's like...
What are your guys' nights, like 6 to 6, or what do you guys run?
Right now I do, I get in at 10:30, I stay till about 6:30.
Okay.
But... I mean, nighttime, it's like you don't get all the stupid calls, like,
yeah.
You know, I don't know, the neighbor disputes or just stupid things, you know. But some of the calls we get, I mean, they're good calls. Like, I've been on chases, a lot of pursuits. I had a pursuit turn into a crash, you know, foot chase, you know, that kind of stuff. It's stolen cars. What did I have the other day? A pursuit that led to a fight, you know. Yeah, a lot of good calls happen at night. I shouldn't say good, but, you know, a lot of, you know.
Activity,
yeah.
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 So
yeah.
What originally got you, explain to me what led you to originally leading it out? Because I mean,
So
I'm appreciative that we spent the time to kind of give some context to who you are and the backstory.
Of course, yeah, we gotta.
It's an
I wanna
interest.
talk about this.
Yeah, what happened? Because I think people, and unpack it to the best of your ability. Because I'm sure some people, to include myself,
Yeah.
I was aware that something had happened. Right.
Yes.
Train derailment. Like
Correct.
that's going to make national news. It actually might make global news.
Yeah.
I wasn't really aware of any of
level.
the might. No, it was like a train derailment.
Yeah.
People did die, right?
No. Nobody died from the actual
Okay.
train derailment. So, for obviously for those listening and whatnot, East Palestine, the train derailment.
Pull this sucker up, Michael.
So I'd sent you some pictures, and I sent you, I think, my orders. I was there, no question. Yeah. And I was actually an NCO.
So how did it play out for you that day? Because did that happen at night, or were you not working nights when that happened?
I think it happened early morning.
Okay.
So I was on the phone at home with a friend, and I get a notification. Your guard unit's been activated. In getting a guard activation.
This is where Michael really earns it, you know?
Yeah.
Which
So the one on the far
Daddy.
right. So that right there, I mean, that just looking at that picture on the bottom there. Look at that. I mean,
pilot. Okay, so what caused this derailment?
so there was an axle on one of the trains that had some issue with it.
Okay.
And cameras prior, a few miles down the road had caught the wheels sparking, so that's what actually ended up causing it. Yeah. So
And you can tell that this is a cargo train for sure.
So, oh man. So just looking at this, it was crazy. But anyway, there was a bunch of chemicals in here that were, very poisonous. Big one, vinyl chloride.
Vinyl chloride?
Vinyl chloride.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's no good.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I was on the phone with a friend, and I got the notification. Getting activated in the National Guard's like getting like a SWAT call out, or
And that's usually for emergency and disaster
correct
reaction, right?
Or riot control.
For people who are watching this, you can tell this probably meets the criteria.
Yeah. So the BLM riots, we got activated to that
Okay.
too in downtown Cleveland, stuff like that. But anyway, the big thing about this was, I was on the phone with a friend, and I got the activation, went to the unit. So we were up for probably a day without sleep, and you and I, that's okay. It's not the end of the world.
I mean, let me be clear. It's not my favorite.
It sucks, but
I can function.
we
Not
can function.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Not looking for chances to do that at this point in my
Absolutely.
life.
Correct. Yeah. So some of the other people I was with, it really wore down on them not sleeping for the first day. But anyway, we get to our unit, and they're like, "You need to go. You guys need to go now." We hopped in Humvees. We drove out here, and
What did they want you to do?
so that's part of the thing. It's like,
Because this is not, I mean, for people watching, and this is obviously, the first image is it was on fire in the daytime. So this is either before or after that, but this is a substantial period of time where this thing is burning. I'm going to guess this is after, because this looks like it's grown.
yeah. So
I mean, what are you going to do in a Humvee? Drive over this and put it out?
that was the thing. Is like we were MPs. I mean, the big thing here were the chemicals, and there were some really bad chemicals in this train, and apparently they had been expanding or something that would have led to like a ridiculous explosion. So they evacuated everybody. They called us, and they made the decision to release these chemicals in the air. Apparently, to train people.
Oh, are you talking about the stuff that was in the actual container?
Yeah, stuff.
So the decision was,
Yeah.
instead of, if they leave it in there, it would potentially explode. So basically, reduce the
Chances
I don't know if
for
you guys
catastrophic.
know this, but I'm basically a scientist. So what I'm thinking is, this is like shaking up a Coke bottle, and instead of letting it blow up,
Exactly.
you're like, shh, and you
Yeah.
diffuse the
Just
the
a lot
pressure.
bigger scale.
And I feel like I need to be wearing a white coat for this right now. I'm figuring this out. you
Yeah,
know?
this would be a very large Coke bottle. But yeah, so all these really bad chemicals, and I
But
think
they made the decision to release them.
release. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the chemicals was vinyl chloride, and it's really poisonous. It's really bad. And I was standing there. So let's go back a couple days. When I first got there, they had us like kind of stationed around the town.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody in. And there were people like coming up to us like,
And protective gear. Did you guys have gas masks on?
There are so many things to this that were just so screwed up. They called the MPs when they should have called the chemical guys. The chemical battalion, which we had.
Yeah, this is like an NBR, nuclear, biological, radiological.
And they sent us here, and half of us had pro masks, like a gas mask, for those that don't know, which I don't know what good it would have done, but who knows? At least a peace of mind, you know. They told us right away, don't wear those things. You don't want to scare people. Like, well, people probably are already scared. They told us, don't wear them. And I'm like...
And this is the National Guard telling you?
National Guard telling us that.
Okay.
Well, I think the city or the village, whatever it is, I think they told the National Guard, like, hey, I don't think you guys should...
Don't wear protective equipment because it
Don't wear
might
protective
scare
equipment. Might scare others. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think they wanted pictures of troops in masks. And
Okay.
Yeah. So right away I was like, geez. So that sucks. So we had gone there and we were kind of stationed around the town with local police or, you know, sheriffs, highway patrol.
You guys just working essentially a perimeter.
A perimeter, yeah. Actually, at one point I was pretty deep into the town. And I remember it's almost like they snuck in, you know, and they'd be like, hey, my dog's in there. Like, can I get my dog? I'm like, dude, go get your dog. Like, you're a grown man.
Yeah.
Go get your dog, you know, go get what you need. I'm not here to, you know, trample on anybody's rights. Like, yeah. But anyway, so I think after the second day, or I can't quite remember, they made that decision to release these chemicals. And that list of chemicals I sent you, like, from what I was told, only about half of those came out to the public. I can't confirm that or not, but some of those chemicals were used, I think, in World War I as like some kind of like chemical agents or something.
How did they release them? Like, what's the mechanism to do that?
I think they had explosives. I think that blew holes into the train. I can't quite.
So somebody went up. If they used that, somebody, either a robot or somebody, had to go up and implant those.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So as they made this decision to release these chemicals, there was probably like 20 policemen and 20 guardsmen standing maybe 200 yards from this site. And I actually I got lost at one point, and we drove right next to these trains before it was released.
Okay.
And I think I sent you that video too, of like the train wreck, like right here. And we're like, what the heck? Because, you know, we weren't allowed to be there, so we were kind of scared. We turned around anyway.
How far had they told you to stay away from it?
They never really told us like how far to stay away from it. They made it clear that this was not good.
Okay.
So anyway, we're about 200 yards right before they make this decision to release. And we got all these policemen and these guardsmen standing there, and we weren't ready. Like, we thought it would be a little longer before they actually released it. Next thing you know, we watched this mushroom cloud just go up in the sky of this black smoke. And this mushroom cloud, I mean, it looks like, just thinking about it, seeing pictures of it, it's like...
Find this mushroom cloud if you can, Michael.
I sent some good pictures from my personal phone, too.
If you have them, you can airdrop them to him as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful.
Find them and airdrop them if you can, because we can pull them up and let people see. It'll help paint the visual picture.
Yeah, let me turn this back on.
When they released them, I mean, are we talking like fireball mushroom cloud?
Oh,
Michael, go to the second video on the right.
Yeah, like a mushroom cloud of...
Ohio train derailment explosion sparks the start of controlled...
Okay, perfect. Yeah, see the explosion?
Oh, okay, so that was not accidental. This was a controlled explosion.
Oh, yeah, controlled explosion. I wonder if you can see where we are at this point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. There's the black mushroom cloud you're talking about.
So I watched this happen live from maybe a couple hundred yards out.
Look at that thing working towards the trees on the left-hand side. Holy cow.
So, I mean, imagine seeing this with your naked eyes, like in front of you. So we see this, right? 30 seconds later, we get this taste of chemicals. And the only thing I can really compare it to, do you remember like being a kid? Did you ever put like a quarter in your mouth or something? Or
yeah. Did you ever look at 9-volt?
Yeah, right.
Michael, have you ever looked at 9-volt battery?
Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good. Pretty good.
I just want to make sure that children are still the same.
Yeah.
We have no respect for warnings or reasonability of any kind. I'm glad to see that your generation hasn't evolved past my own.
Jeez. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to airdrop.
That's all right. I think we found, I think, probably an even better example of that.
Yeah.
Who owned this train?
Norfolk Southern.
So this is a private company.
Yes, a very, very large private company.
Transporting chemicals, obviously.
Through, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where was the destination for this?
I know
that some chemicals, obviously, in combination, they can become really dangerous. And of course, nobody ever expects this to happen.
Yeah.
But this is like a normal thing. This wasn't like some DOD assigned train taking.
Yeah, this was just a private company.
Okay.
Transporting these chemicals.
Did they set the explosions?
I believe the train company hired contractors or whoever to detonate this. But I've also heard, and like I said, I don't want to I wouldn't say this unless I had some pretty good sources, but like I heard things like they did it without telling the city, or without coming to an agreement.
Yeah. And so again, what were they butting up against? They thought it was going to explode anyway.
Yeah.
So it was better to have it be a controlled
debt instead of a catastrophic, which is fair if that's really the case.
Well, that's also assuming though that your controlled detonation doesn't expand accidentally to an uncontrolled one. I mean,
absolutely.
I have a little bit more experience with explosives than most people.
Yeah.
It's an art form more than a science.
Yeah. It's crazy just looking at it. I mean,
that mushroom crowd was unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Okay. So we watched this cloud go up, right? And then we get this taste. And they had told us basically to hold the line there.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming you guys had to have been downwind.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it mattered at that point because
it was going everywhere.
It went everywhere, yeah. So we get this taste, and I remember like it's like we're looking at a 9-volt battery, and everybody at the same time was like, you got this taste, and your eyes started to burn, your skin was burning, and somebody made the decision. I think it was a trooper, like, we're not staying here, we're leaving, because they had told us to kind of hold that line.
Yeah, it might already be too late though, man.
Yeah. So.
And were you still operating in a National Guard capacity?
National Guard,
okay.
Because this was 23.
But you were co-located with law enforcement as well.
Yeah, it was like a joint mutual aid.
I'm just trying to figure out where your chain of command would follow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, there were people complaining. I mean, like eyes burning. I mean, me too. I mean, it was bad. Itchy skin. And if you remember seeing some of the pictures of all the dead wildlife in the river, do you remember that?
No, Michael, start pulling up this stuff.
Oh my
what
God.
are you even doing over there?
Yeah.
Poorly.
So there were like there were like fish. There were, if you would like tap the river, the little streams and all that there, they were like covered in oil and like chemicals. So all these animals, this wildlife, they had died. And a lot of the villagers were just like, I know brain cancer was a thing.
After?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People were getting sick, like very sick. A week later, so I remember feeling right away how crappy I felt.
Yeah.
And
so you guys decided, like, hey, we're going to move. And then what did
we moved maybe a couple miles away.
Yeah. And then when did the National Guard pull you guys back?
Probably a few hours later, we all went back to kind of like our posts.
And we're like, was there the fire department out there? Were they managing this at all?
Yeah, the fire department was out there, but it's a small town, so
yeah,
they did what they could, and the fire department, they were busy, they were doing the right thing, doing everything they could. But anyway, like we ended up coming back and stayed for maybe 4 or 5 more days, kind of like in the area. Everybody was complaining. I mean, you could look at people's eyes and just see like they weren't the right color. Like there were people's this weird yellow, red,
like jaundiced almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. And like these are people like under me that like I care about, like my soldiers and stuff, and like, oh, it was so bad. Just people like serving their country, like trying to get through college, or they didn't have the means to go to college, so they joined the military. Doing the right thing. So that, and then like. I remember, so the guy in charge was General Harris, and I give that man credit because he was there on the ground with us. He was there. I had conversations with this guy. Like, I give him credit for being there. He didn't have to be there. I think he ended up like pushing a reporter or getting in a fight with a reporter or something.
It's a pretty rough look.
Yeah, for a general. But like I said, I give him credit. Like he walked down to ground zero with me and my people, and he stayed there, and he hung out with us and made sure we were okay for the most part. Anyway, so that happened, and I'd say about a week later is when things really started getting weird. Myself especially. I got a feeling in my stomach. And I called a couple friends up, and I was like, hey, something's not right. I had some headaches. I had some minor vision problems.
And this is you back at home now, no longer still?
Back at home, correct, yeah. Mm-hmm. I had some minor vision problems and stuff, and it kind of just, like a week later is really like when it kind of just hit and started hurting in my stomach. And I called one of my like medic friends or something, and I told them, and they said, you keep an eye on that, And if you look online, and some of the doctors that I've talked to said like there's a direct link between like appendicitis and chemical exposure and that kind of thing. So it's like, okay, whatever, it'll go away, So it starts getting worse and worse, and I was doing some training, and I told the medic, like, hey, something's really wrong with me, with my stomach. And I described what was going on, and they were like, you need to go to the hospital, like, right now. I think your appendix is going to explode. So I was like, no, I can't be, whatever. So they're like, no, you need to go. So I ended up going, whatever. And the doctor's like, this thing, your appendix needs to come out right now. Like,
Yeah, they don't seem to mess around with that particular one.
No, I guess it's pretty...
If you get there late,
Yeah.
well, I don't know if people know this. I am not a doctor.
No.
I don't practice. Well, I'm not a practicing doctor.
Not a practicing doctor, yeah. I can do some things, but...
But I have heard that if the old appendix bursts, whatever's in there,
it's important.
and I'm not going to lie, I don't actually know exactly what the appendix does.
I think it's a filter.
I think so.
I think.
But whatever's in there, if it were to burst and start spreading out in your body,
It'll kill you.
It's real, real bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why they treat it so seriously.
They do, yeah, because
Yeah.
people have died from this, from burst to
Yeah.
appendix. So I get to the hospital, the emergency room, and they're like, it's coming out now.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't preparing to go into surgery when I got there, or on the way there. And one of my friends, he was there with me, awesome guy, Ian. He stayed there with me, and they took it out, and I was in the hospital for a few days. And it started getting, so they took that out, and it started getting even weirder. I mean, ask Rob and Mike, like, if I drink something, I have to, like, maybe an hour later or so, or a couple hours later, whatever, like, if I drink a full beverage, like, I will pee nonstop. But I'm not peeing, I just have that sensation. Mm-hmm. I'll, like, pee a little bit nonstop every 5 minutes for hours. And, like, it all feels this from that, like, it's from the left side of my body. It's really weird. It's plagued me, like, on the airplane, like, we're getting ready to take off. I'm like, no, I need to pee. Like, I told them, I'm like, guys, like, I'm so sorry. It's embarrassing and it's humiliating. Like, they're like, dude, you need to go to the bathroom. Like, go.
I mean, it's neither of those things, for clarity.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dealing with something that's super real. It might, like,
Yeah.
maybe just start with inconvenient. It's just inconvenient.
Yeah.
It's
right.
not. It shouldn't be embarrassing. Like, don't.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know.
You're putting that pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I suppose. But, I thought only my grandfather, peed every 5 minutes.
Yeah, did he stand next to this frickin' mushroom cloud that's
Probably
still up?
not.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you only can control so much, man.
I know. But yeah, so we're like getting ready to take off, and I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, stand there for 3 minutes, I haven't peed yet, like, finally I go. The flight attendant's like glaring at me, and like, I'm sorry. But anyway, so that, and then like, just this, I'm getting ready to go back to the doctor. They're all tracking all this, my doctor, and they're getting ready to do what they got to do. I don't know, tests and all that. Mm-hmm. So like, it just, I've had this feeling in my body ever since then, and like, I'm not scared for me. Like, if something happens, if I get cancer, who knows what could happen, and I don't make it. Like, it sucks, but like, I'm terrified for my kids.
Yeah.
Like, Andy, I'm terrified for my kids. Like, my 13-year-old boy, like, he has a stepfather, awesome guy, like, just a solid man in his life. But my two younger kids, my 4-year-old and my 6-year-old, like, they don't have a, awesome stepdad who would do anything for them, They have me, and like, and like, I'm terrified for them. I don't know what's going to happen because people are dying from this. Like, they're getting cancer. And
so I was going to say, have you talked to anybody else who has had either a similar symptom or other people that were exposed? Like, what are they dealing with?
So a lot of the people that were there that are still in the Guard are afraid to like say anything because
why?
They're in the Guard, like, they don't want it coming back to them professionally. Me, like, I'm out of the Guard.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I don't care. Like, I'll talk about it. This all ties back into like those people that were really good to me in that small town. Is like these people, these small town people that like, they deserve answers. These people got screwed over so bad. Like, they got checks for, whatever, 20,000 or whatever. But what's that going to do?
I wonder how they come up with that number.
Me too. Because, yeah.
I've watched, my wife is horrified by the documentaries that I like to watch because not a single one of them is about anything good. And
those are the good ones.
I like to watch crime ones, and I tell her, I'm like, I have to get on this case. She's like, that was solved 10 years. I'm like, yeah, but not by me.
Yeah.
Like, the guy's dead, and I'm like, is he though?
That's funny. Yeah.
Like,
Do you ever watch those like cold case? I
can't get into the cold case one. I like the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But in a couple of them I watched, they start talking about settlements.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be that to a lot of large corporations, well, maybe that's not correct to say, to some corporations. Today's episode is brought to you by me, Andy. Yes, today I get to do an ad read for something for myself. And here it is. I wrote a book. It's called Drown Proof. It comes out 6 days from when this episode releases. And I am trying to do everything possible to make this book successful. Not because I care about any of the lists or a monetary gain that could come from that, but a lot of people put their name on this book with me, and a lot of people have supported me behind the scenes. And I want to do everything that I possibly can to make it successful. Now, I said I don't care about the lists, and those are true. The one list, though, that seems to be the most prestigious is the one that I'm the most unlikely to make because they feel that I do not align with them from a politics or moral perspective, and that is the New York Times. It is not a sales list. It is an editorial list, so they get to pick. And the only way that I have a chance at it is to be undeniable. How do you become undeniable for them? You sell enough copies that they can't ignore you. And when it comes to that list, hardcovers, like this one right here, are what they count the most of. So I would humbly ask, if you have gotten anything out of this podcast since its inception, please do me a favor. Head over to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, whatever it may be, and pick up a hard copy. Every pre-sale counts, plus the first week after the book comes out. And that is all that I can ask. I hope this book is meaningful. I hope that it's helpful, and I hope it finds its way into as many people's hands as possible. For those of you who economically can't make a purchase right now, I totally understand. Please do me a favor and help me spread the word. The goal is to be undeniable. I want to force them to put me on that list. Back to the show. At the end of the day, we are a mathematical formula. What is the likelihood of being sued by the number of people multiplied by the likely payout versus insurance premiums, insurance payout?
Yeah.
And that's how they come down to,
Isn't that?
it seems, the check that these people would be given. And let's say they're getting 20 grand and their life is stripped of a decade and a half.
Absolutely. And I mean, what are they going to do with these properties that are like covered in chemicals?
Well, it depends. First off, are they even honest about what?
The train or the train people or the...
That's what I'm saying. Have they come out and openly talked about A, what is happening there, or B, the damage that has caused, the long-term effects?
Yeah, somewhat, but nobody's going to admit. They're not going to admit how...
Yeah, because they don't want the liability.
They don't want the liability. Yeah. And some of these people, these small town people, like the people that adopted me, like they're all good people just trying to get by. And like now their entire life is just uprooted. I mean, a lot of these people can't afford to move.
Yeah.
You know, and...
So you were saying when you reached out over email, I didn't catch it when Joe was talking about this, but you also said the vice president.
Rogan?
Rogan was,
Yeah.
But didn't you say Vance as well? VP Vance got his got involved in this as well?
Oh, yeah, he took an interest for sure. And rightfully so. I mean, like, there were a lot of people that took an interest in this that don't know, like, the things, didn't see the things I saw, didn't know the things that I know.
Did Joe just happen to see it on the news and he talked about it?
Yeah, I mean, it went national. It went international, actually. I mean... but yeah, I remember watching, his show and they were talking about it. I'm like, dude, I saw this. I was there. Like,
yeah. What did Vance say about it?
I know he was pretty upset about it. I think actually Trump just wrote the Trump administration just wrote a check to these people, to the village or the town. I think it was like $10 million, which is something, but it's not, going to fix these people's lives. But I remember they were just really disappointed that, from my experience, this is my opinion, the objective of these people was to get the tracks back up, get the train running.
Of the train people?
Quick as possible. It's money. Everything's money. So I think they wanted to get everything cleaned up and, going again. You don't have trains moving, you lose money.
I hope that if those people did get checks, that if they cash them, they didn't lose their ability to hold people accountable in the process.
Well, they would have. They would have signed. I didn't sign anything. I'll talk about all,
Yeah.
I don't care.
And that's what sucks, right? Because depending on who you are, there's a number of a dollar amount that might get you to be like, you know what, this will have
Yeah.
an amazing impact in my life now, and you don't even know what you
Yeah.
might be signing away in the future.
Who knows if I get cancer next year? You know,
Yeah.
Who knows? My kids, they're screwed. You know.
Well, are they doing additional screening on you and other people that have been exposed to this?
So no, well, not through the VA anyhow, or through private doctors. Because it's like there hasn't been a train derailment like this to this level. I mean, and it's too soon to know the actual like all the effects, I guess. But
Yeah.
I do know people were getting brain cancer, and
How long ago was this, by the way?
this was 2023.
Okay. So 3 years ago.
My one friend that was there, or that lived in the town, his dog died. Just like out of nowhere, his dog died. And they wrote him a check to shut him up. Yeah, 20-something thousand.
God, I mean, I want to tell people not to take that check, but I'm in no place to tell anybody how to live their life.
I won't take it. You can.
If you cash that thing, you might be
You lose it.
You might be giving away more than you realize.
Yeah, you know what? And like I said, I'm here for the people that don't have a voice. Like I was there. I was in the front lines of the stuff. Of all the things I've seen in the military throughout my time in the military, some of those graphic things that disturb me, I would say this is up there. I was just so disturbed by this.
How long did they keep the town out of this area?
How long? What?
How long did they keep the people who lived here out of this area? Because I mean, even just looking at this, sure, you put the fire out.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a little bit of what I'm going to call a cleanup project.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Hands, and I don't know how you clean
Yeah.
things like this. We're talking like massive vehicles, cranes, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it was?
I think that's the fire chief, or I think that was the
Holy
mayor.
cow, that is an amazing image.
I'm telling you, I saw this with my own eyes, and being as close as we were to this, like,
Oh yeah, this probably does nothing to the
Like-
justice of in your own eyes.
oh, I mean, I wish I could, just being there and tasting those chemicals and the repercussions, like, or the aftermath
Yeah.
of this. I just like, there's things happening in me that I can't explain. Like, that guy was awesome, the fire chief.
How could you even tell he's the fire chief? It has nothing to do with
Not
the
the
handlebar
mustache. Not the
stash.
mustache. Yeah.
It's one of
Yeah.
the stereotypes.
That's the
that is
signature.
almost
Oh yeah,
always true.
I'll see people out in public with a clean haircut. And,
Yeah.
I'm like, I know what he does. Okay, so liver problem, all that stuff. Like, I feel that now. Like,
Yeah.
Like I said,
When
the
you go
being-
get checked, what do they tell you? Like, are they doing blood draws? How are they trying to assess what's going on?
So what happened was, recently it's been getting a lot worse, and that's when I called my doctor again and said, hey, like, I really need to get seen. She no longer works where she works. So last week they said, hey, we're going to set you up with a new doctor, one that specializes in this kind of stuff and some other urology, I think it is.
Yeah. Who's paying for all this?
VA.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah. So originally they should have paid my medical bills. They didn't. I ended up paying them, some of the ones I had from the ER and stuff, but you would think they would have reached out to, hey, maybe we'll pay your bills. But anyway, your medical bills, but whatever. So, all this stuff happened, and like, I haven't been right since. And I wouldn't lie to you, like, this has truly affected my
Yeah.
physically, and not even that, just like mentally. Like, if I'm in my patrol car and like I drink a coffee or something, like, I have to go pee all the time, and I don't know what it is. It's something down there.
Yeah. And obviously this is something that you weren't experiencing before.
No, not at all.
Right. Yeah. So again, I mean, causality is a bitch, but and I'm also not Sherlock Holmes, but I can kind of draw some breadcrumbs here.
Yeah, for sure. And like, this was, I don't know. It was bad.
What?
Memory loss. I mean, these guys just the other day, or this morning or yesterday, asked me the most simple thing, or, my wife does it too. Like, I just cannot remember simple things.
Yeah.
Like things that, how could you forget something like that?
What is the company? And by that I mean the company that was either managing or facilitating the train. What have they said? Like, everything's good, we did cleanup. Like, what's their stance on this?
They know that they screwed up. They know how bad this was, but again, they're paying people off maybe not to talk.
Michael, can you look up the name of the train company?
I think it's Norfolk. Yeah.
Can you then also do some Google searching to see if you can find where they're at on this? Like, have they paid out? Has there been a lawsuit?
Yeah, there was a $600 million settlement.
To who, though?
I think it was anybody who was in the area could go get a piece of that money.
Yeah, but 20 grand times, that's a lot to get to 600 million.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it was like, I don't know, maybe testing or something. I don't know. Yeah, 600
Oh,
million.
good. Supreme Court has declined to hear a challenge. Yeah. Suck on that one. Class action settlement between Norfolk Southern and the residents and businesses affected by the February 2023. So, yeah, it's about 3 years ago. East Palestine, Ohio train derailment. The decision leaves in place the 2024 settlement for individuals within 20 miles of the site, covering property, businesses, and personal injury claims. So, are you can be a part of this because, well, actually, you're a resident because you just happen to be there, right?
So there were a lot of first responders they were writing checks to first responders. Me, however, they never told any of us about this. So like, my chain of command and all that, none of us knew about this. When I finally found out, I was like, hey, let me call these guys because like I'm affected. I think I missed it by like 2 months, and they basically told me to screw off. You know, it was a 2-year window. Which is like, you know, if you either do the right thing, you know, or you would think, you know, 2 months wouldn't have mattered, you know, on something like this, but, or, you know, you'd think they would have been decent about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you think about it like this, like $20,000 to somebody living in small town America, you know, barely getting by, 20 grand's a lot of money.
Yes. I mean, 20 grand is a lot of money regardless of who you are.
Yeah, regardless. But, you know, somebody trying to get by, you know, a quick 20,000 is probably something they haven't seen in a long, you know, if ever. Of course they're going to take it.
A federal judge ruled that Norfolk Southern alone is responsible for the cleanup costs, rejecting attempts to shift liability to the manufacturers of the chemicals or owners of the rail cars. Oh, so they were obviously just leasing space or renting space and stuff. Man, I mean, what a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that like I reached out to a bunch of the troops that were there, and they sent me, I mean, things that like if people knew about these things, like they would just be disgusted. I mean, one of this young girl, 18, 19 in the guard, she got really sick too. Her eyes were burning so bad, and she said she couldn't see. She lost her vision for a little while. She was having a hard time seeing things.
Yeah.
You know, clearly anyway. You know, stuff like that. And I don't know, just the fact that like, did we actually need to be there? We didn't do anything that law enforcement didn't do. We were basically standing with a cop car the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind serving my country, obviously, but like things like this, like how's this gonna affect me? Like, I'm gonna die serving my country. I want to die, like, you know, doing something.
Yeah, they may not have known necessarily
honorable.
Exactly what to do with you guys. I'm sure they got a call before knowing. I mean, I would imagine that the National Guard got activated before they knew the contents of what was inside of the train.
So actually, I think no, they knew right away.
Then how could they not send you guys out there in CBR gear?
That's part of my problem here is that they had chemical battalions that they could have sent out there. They sent us there with, you know, ill-equipped.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have anything. Half of us had pro masks or gas masks, but like I said, they told us not to wear them. And like there were just so many things here that like were just so messed up about it. I mean, the aftermath, you know.
What would you like to see fixed or changed?
Honestly, like those people in that town, like they deserve, you know, they should be taken care of. It wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
They're hardworking people getting by, you know, barely getting by, you know.
I feel like Norfolk Southern would say, well, we did take care of them. What's the saying? It was paying for East Palestine, Ohio train derailment, cleanup and recovery with costs exceeding $1 billion.
Yeah.
The company agreed to $310 million federal settlement with EPA and DOJ for cleanup, environmental monitoring, and health services. I don't necessarily know what that means on the health services side, but I would hope that's money that's put aside that could specifically deal with the people who were put in your position.
Yeah, so I know that a lot of people there, they got their checks, I guess, you know, compared to billions of dollars. You know, like I said, offering somebody a check for 10, 20,000, you know, who probably have never seen that money, they're going to take it, of course, you know.
Yeah.
But
this is where this stuff gets fascinating. So Michael just pulled up something here.
What's that?
Norfolk Southern has actively lobbied to weaken the Bipartisan Railway Safety Act of 2023, which I'm going to assume, Michael, this came in after the...
I would imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's really odd timing. Proposed following the East Palestine, Ohio disaster. Probably should just finish the sentence and then it'll, you know, it all comes together if you actually read it all together.
Yeah, I think Vice President Vance actually...
Yeah.
I think this might have been his, or he did something, some kind of act.
The company, along with other rail industry actors has spent millions to fight regulations on train length, inspections, and mandatory two-person crews. Key details on lobbying efforts. Targeting legislation has lobbied against the Safety Act itself, which is aimed to improve hazardous material safety and detection technology. The company significantly increases lobbying expenditures following the Feb 2023 train derailment, spending $1.9 million in Washington in just 6 months. Same thing what we just mentioned, the two-person crews. Backdoor pressure reports indicate the company has worked behind closed doors to eliminate core safety protections in proposed legislation. Even after public scrutiny, the company continued to push against new regulations, including hiring new firms to lobby during congressional scrutiny and merger reviews. Why does it have to be like that when you pull back the curtain?
Isn't that crazy?
I mean,
It's sick.
I would love to see a representative from that organization explain those things while in this next breath explaining to me how they actually care about safety. Like, you care about safety. You don't want it to happen again. Explain to me these actions and show me how these two are intrinsically tied.
It's insanity.
It's money. It's profit.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they cared more about the money than the people. I mean, because like I said, these people probably got a chunk of change, and then it was too late. They signed their lives away.
So what are you going to do for yourself personally? Because again, I mean, I love the idea, and the reason I wanted to have you come on is to bring more awareness to people that might be caught up in this. And I'm assuming that anybody in that area knows that there is money that is available. But
So I think it's over with. I think there was a 2-year window for settlements. If you
can you look that up, Michael?
Yeah, if you wanted, and there's even a phone number that some of us have called.
Yeah.
And they basically told us
that is so crazy that they would. I mean, okay, I guess. Well, God, part of me, I understand where that comes from. Like, you don't want to say 20 years.
Yeah, 2 years though. That's nothing.
2 years. I mean, maybe a little bit of middle ground, somewhere in between.
Look at the effects I'm having now. Like 3 years later, I'm starting to have some.
I can also see a world. Where, in that same mathematical formula, they say, what's the likelihood? What's the long end tail for symptoms to arrive? 3 to 4 years? Okay, cool. Let's put a 2-year window on this.
Oh, for sure.
I would hate to think that humans are like that.
But they are.
But you know damn well that somebody somewhere is running that math and saying, what's the number we can put up here that's not going to raise anybody's alarm, but what might end up cutting off the tail end ability for people to apply for that. What'd you find, Michael?
It says... Well, Google AI wasn't very helpful. All it said was you may still be able to claim. So I'm trying to dig
I called
here.
them. A couple of my buddies called them too, and they basically told me to screw off.
Well, here's my advice on that. Don't stop calling. Call a different number. Call somebody else. You know who you need to get a hold of too in issues like this?
Vice President Vance.
That would probably not be a bad idea. I have no ability to help you with that, but I don't think he's listening. I think he's got other stuff going on. Probably trying to plan how he's going to run in 2028.
Yeah, no kidding.
This is where, in my opinion, this is the role of elected officials at the local level and at the state level.
Yeah.
This is where you start going and talking to senators and congressmen, because they might not be able to do anything, but sometimes they can apply at least. This is what I want to believe, right? And people want to believe that they can actually serve the people that elected them and apply pressure somewhere, so people like yourself can actually get the answers or help that you need.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, there's so many things that I can't do. That I love hunting. Like, I love bow hunting, sitting in a tree, obviously, sitting in a tree with a bow. And there's things that it's affected me. Like, I don't want to say vision, but like headaches, and, I can't focus like I used to. And it took me a long time after those issues from service, like from active duty, it took me a long, long time of panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and to get, like a baseline to where I was okay and I was able to, become a police officer and, do all this stuff. It took me a long time, but now it's like I'm having issues from this stuff that, like, I can't do some certain things I like to do. Like
August 2024 deadline. You've got to be shitting me.
And so I probably called in, let's say, 2 months after that. And they basically told me no. Like,
although the settlement was approved in September of 2024, appeals delayed payments, which are now expected to begin in early to mid 2026.
Yeah.
Defect cure deadline. For individuals who filed claims and received notification about defects or missing information, a deadline of December 4th, so that's passed, last year, was set to correct those. Final settlement approved. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected a final challenge To this. Okay, so the Supreme Court is holding to what it is.
Yeah.
Well, there is a number at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be curious if
And EastPalestineTrainSettlement.com.
let's just see if one of them reach out and like try to make this somewhat right. Not necessarily me, but like some of those people like under me, like just they're kids.
Nobody's going to, from at least the train company, is going to reach out and try to make this right.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Well, they probably have been advised by lawyers that
Not
the
to.
company itself can't do anything. I'm sure they have
Oh, really?
intermediaries that are handling this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, they're probably going to have a law firm that's going to be the go-between in between the two.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
you're
they're
right.
yeah, a
Yeah,
direct
you're right.
connection. But what I would say is this,
Yeah.
man. Like from what you've already described and the worries
Yeah.
that you have about your kids, do not stop banging on that door and elevate this to the highest level that you
I'll
can.
go as high as I need to. I ain't afraid. I'll talk. I don't care.
What I
Need
mean, how
answers.
close is it starting to get where it might impact your job as a law
That's what I'm
enforcement
worried
officer?
about.
Like, what's the threshold? Is it your department say, you tell us, or is there a line where it gets that they're going to make the call for you?
It'd probably be me telling them.
Yeah.
Which like, it doesn't affect my ability to like. I don't know. What it affects is my ability to like, not mentally, but like I said, physically. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm running hot to a call and I have to pee like right now,
Well, yeah, it impacts your concentration at a very minimum.
I can't just stop at somebody's house. Like, hey, do you mind if I use your restroom really quick? You know. I mean,
I don't know if you know this. You're in a cop car, pop the door open, and just stand there and
yeah.
whiz it out.
Well, then I'll be on CNN.
I'm not saying do that in front of somebody's house, maybe on a deserted road somewhere.
Hey, I gotta
but-
go. I gotta go.
Yeah, just hop out of your car like right in front of a
Yeah, yeah.
school. That's not what I'm saying, right? Like
That's funny.
there are other
Yeah,
options.
But yeah, like there has been times where I've been on calls, even something as serious as like a body, like a dead body, and I have to go to the bathroom. Like I have to leave the scene,
Yeah.
and I'm like lead investigator on that call. You know, primary responder or first officer to respond, and like so it's mine. The scene's mine. Waiting on like a coroner or the transport company, and I'll be like, I'll call somebody else. Can you please come to the scene and like
Yeah.
hang out while I go?
So what's your personal line in the sand? Where are you gonna
Say
where are you
it
gonna-
again?
Where's your line in the sand where you're gonna call it and say, hey, this is actually negatively impacting my job and I can't do it to the ability that I want?
Well, I would say this would be a big step because I hope people see this. Oh, not necessarily not being able to do my job, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping that once I start getting answers medically,
Yeah.
they'll be able to help me out.
I mean, though, what would it take for you to go to your leadership and say, hey,
Oh yeah.
like I am now worried that I'm not going to be able to do my job to my ability. Like, how close to that are you?
I wouldn't say I'm close to that. I mean, it's having to like go to the bathroom. Like, it's not having to take a pee isn't like the end of the world right now.
Yeah, but that's where it's at right now.
Okay, good point. So
You know
if
what
it
I mean?
gets
Like,
worse,
yeah, I know this is just the start, and like
Yeah,
the
you're
system
right.
might morph into the symptom might morph into a different symptom.
if it gets to the point where I'm going to embarrass my department or embarrass myself or
Yeah.
or not be able to help somebody who needs help, like that's when I'm going to be. I mean that's. I don't know what I would do because I love being there for people. I love the Americans, man, best people on earth. As far as. I love Americans, and if I'm not able to be there for them, when I need to be there, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow,
Has thinking about your mortality or having it thrown in your face just due to uncertainty changed
Yeah.
the way that you look at parenting and how you interact with your kids?
Yeah, I would say what changed that the most. Like at family gatherings and stuff, I don't like being around kids, and the reason for that would be I have a hard time holding kids, like
Really?
my children sometimes, yeah. But it took me a long time, and the reason that is there was an incident where I was in the military, a father and his son, they were killed, and I was young, and I didn't necessarily know what to do medically, and the medics were taking care of our guys, and I was there with this kid, and I'm holding this kid, and it didn't dawn on me. Like I said, I'm not ashamed to admit, at the time I froze. I didn't know what to do. I wouldn't say I froze, but I didn't know what to do, and this kid ended up dying. So what I did was I kind of just held this kid. The last thing his father saw, and he probably saw, was the U.S. military, responsible for their lives.
Responsible, yes, but think about what you were doing in those final moments. You weren't
Yeah.
trying to hurt. You
Well, I
were
don't
trying
want to
to
go.
help.
Correct. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail about that. That one's a pretty tough one. But holding this kid, and then I end up with 3 sons myself. So there was a long time where it was really hard to like hold my kids, because I just there's this dead kid there. I would see him. So like family gatherings and stuff like that, I kind of just try to stay away from kids.
Still?
Yeah.
You talking to anybody about this?
Yeah. I talked to Rob. I talked to Mike about it.
No, I mean a professional.
Oh,
not your
yeah.
friends.
Yeah, counseling, yeah.
Okay.
But like, stuff like that is just, that's really what affected me more so than this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going to go, like you said, but you would think after I was finally able to get to a point after all that happened where I was like, I was okay, with like, I could wrestle with my kids and do all this and like, but then now it's like, I got the whole trauma of this stuff, like
Yeah.
just affecting so many aspects of my life, medically. And
So what are you focusing on? Because the trauma aspect and the unknown you can't control. So what are you
Right.
trying to focus on to give yourself some level of a true north on your compass right now?
so I like doing outdoor stuff. My kids, I don't want to say I spoil my kids, but I kind of do.
We all kind of do.
Yeah, 4-wheelers, dirt
And then we
bikes.
tell them that we're not going. Well, they deserve it.
Yeah, they deserve it. Yeah,
Even if it's like, I didn't get this, so
yeah, you're right. But you know what? Their mothers, 2 different mothers, they will
Yeah.
never be able to say I'm a bad father because
Yeah.
I take care of my kids. I'm always there for them. But we do that stuff. I love hunting. I almost got this trophy buck. I was so close. I was watching it. I sent it, pictured both of them. It'd be on camera. This huge buck. The 2 days before season ended, we were allowed to hunt half an hour after sunset in Ohio, and I saw it maybe 100 yards out, and it was just kind of walking, but it was too dark, and that was like my chance. But like I said, I had to follow the law.
Yep.
So yeah, I love hunting, outdoor stuff. I play guitar. I love country music. I play country music. My friend Joe Bova, him and I, we write music and country music. We play out and stuff, and my family, my wife, I really truly have a good life, especially where I came from.
Yeah.
There have been so many people in my life. SWAT Commander Joe, my current boss, these guys, so many people in my life that like didn't need to be there for me, but they were there. Like they just led me on the right, led me on the right path through my career, my childhood. Even now, like there's people in my life that just, I don't know, they have such good intentions and like they're genuine people. Like where would I be without these people? Yeah, it's crazy.
What are you doing to make sure? I don't often like to focus on worst case scenario, but you have to take a look at it.
Of course.
You have a bunch of unknown in front of you, so we can probably find a middle ground. Right? I don't have to say it's worst case scenario, but what are you focusing on to make sure? How old are your kids now?
4, 6, and 13.
Okay, that's a broad stretch.
All boys. Man,
Yeah.
they're cool kids.
I think for me, in times of uncertainty, what I can do is I can focus on things that I can control. And this one, I don't want to speak for you, but it sounds like you want to leave a legacy of some kind for your kids. And I don't know if you're thinking about that at all, but I would throw it back at your court and say that is definitely one thing that you can control and start focusing on. And that can be everything. Honestly, that's one of the cool things about podcasts. It's one of the reasons why I like having shows with my dad.
Yeah.
Not from a legacy perspective, but it's a time capsule because he's 142, probably will make it to 143, but in the lap of life, he's past halfway, safe to say.
Oh yeah.
And the ability to be able to look
Came
back.
quick too.
Yeah, but the ability to be able to look back, and hear that voice, I don't have anything like that with my mom. I have no ability to reach back and view an experience or hear her voice again, and I wish I would have.
How was that? How did that with your mother? What's
Cancer.
the story about? Oh, no way.
Yeah, second time. She was a survivor. She outlived everybody in her cancer survivor group, and then I don't know how much you know about cancer. As you're coming through the treatments, they're kind of on top of you, and then it's like every 6 months screening, every year screening, every 2 years screening. At a certain point, they're like, "Dude, you're good,"
or you're bad.
Well, I mean, maybe just if you're coming from that, just keep
Yeah.
getting screened every once in a while because it
Yeah.
metastasized. It was cervical cancer that metastasized into her lungs.
Oh my goodness.
Survivability rate very, very low. I used to mistakenly say it was
Sad.
non-smokers' lung cancer, but my sister corrected it. But
Were
you
they
know,
were they Christian, or was she a Christian? Your mother? Because you are, aren't you?
I
Not yet.
at best would say I'm agnostic.
Really?
I do not know. I totally support people having any level of faith that they want to. I'm envious of the people that can have faith, but I can't fake it. So I don't
Okay.
know if my mom would have considered herself to be a Christian. She took us to Sunday school when we were younger.
Oh yeah, nice.
But guess what? That doesn't mean shit when it
Yeah,
comes to
no,
me.
I don't go to church. I'm saved. I
Yeah.
have a relationship with Jesus, but I don't go to church.
I don't think you have to.
I
And
think
I
my
think-
job is my church.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on time spent in a place as if it's purifying, and it's like, oh
for
yeah,
sure.
but on the other 6 days and 23 hours, I could be a total douche.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm no saint, believe me.
I don't think you have to be. I think that's one of
No.
the tenets of religion.
Yeah.
I don't know where she was with her faith when she passed.
Well,
You know,
that's the big thing, in my opinion, about
Yeah.
Christianity is like Jesus. I mean, he has grace.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too spiritual or anything, but
no, if you feel,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, man. Like I am envious of people that have that level of faith. I just
Yeah.
refuse to say that I do when I don't because I don't want to fake it.
Sure.
And what I have landed on saying is maybe it's just not my time.
yeah. I mean,
know?
in my honest opinion, like I've seen how things work out in my life. I shouldn't be where I am. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a beautiful wife, successful.
Or you're right where you should be.
Or maybe I'm where I should be. But the chances, the likeliness of where I am in my life from where I came from, there were so many, like I said, so many people that just gave me that little nudge or gave me a chance. My SWAT commander, just so many people. But anyway, I'm convinced, Jesus is real. Just the things he's done for me.
That's awesome.
I lost a brother from an overdose, 2018. So coming from, as a police officer, seeing, rushing out of work to go to the hospital where my brother is, laying on a bed dying. So apparently there was like one little spot of his brain working.
Yeah.
But seeing my brother, like, it was like an exorcist on a hospital, but it was crazy.
Like the way he was moving?
Yeah, so apparently there was one little piece of his brain working that he was just like freaking out, but he was obviously brain dead, but
Yeah.
just one little
Yeah.
piece.
You've been around enough people at the end.
Yeah.
They move more than people would expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
The
do.
electrical system.
That's what it was. It was,
Yeah. Unless you, it's the polite way to say this. Unless you completely shut off the electrical
Yeah,
system,
yeah,
there
yeah.
are often
yeah.
inputs.
There are. It's weird. It's such a
What
weird
did he
thing.
overdose from?
Fentanyl. He struggled, and I had helped him get out of jail, which sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
I called the prosecutor's office, and I spoke to them, and they said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. If he can pay this fine, we'll let him out." And like I hold responsibility in a way because like him and I we were on bad terms. He's doing drugs. I'm a cop. Like,
It's tough.
yeah, like high school quarterback, like just athlete of all athletes. He was so good at everything. So anyway, we kind of went two separate ways. But before he passed, I got him out of jail. I picked him up, and we sat in the car, and him and I talked. And
Cop car?
no.
I was going to say, did you put him
He's
in
in
the front
the
or the
back.
back?
Yeah, yeah. No, I let him drive.
Like, listen, we're going to sit in the car, but you're in the back.
Yeah, sorry, dude. That's funny. So yeah, we had a good conversation. We made up, and I'm so glad him and I got to make up. And,
Yeah.
we laughed. And, he ended up passing away later. But yeah, like honestly, I don't remember where I was going with that either.
Well, let me throw this out there.
Yeah.
Because I have situations in my life where I feel, I think it's a self-imposed sense of guilt. So I'll give you another
Yeah.
optic on this. Had you not done that for your brother, which he probably still was going to use drugs anyway,
He would have, yeah.
and he ended up dying, you might regret for the rest of your life that you didn't. So
Yeah.
there's probably
And
no
you're
painless
right.
way
it's
to
good.
walk through that forest.
Thank you, Andy. I got that last time with him to make up. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for saying that.
You know what I mean? No, it's like
yeah.
there's no life isn't about perfection, man. It's about
Yeah,
doing the best
for
we
sure.
can.
Absolutely. Yeah, honestly though, like it's been a ride, but I'm beyond happy with my life. Other than this, like these little things like this, like where I am in my life now, I just, that's like I said. I know Jesus. I know Jesus is real. Like,
Yeah.
He led me here, and
We live in a world where you don't have to wonder if you want to that your kids have things to remember you by. If you're
Yeah.
uncertain about your future, as weird as this sounds,
yeah,
you don't have to go on podcasts. But dude, you could pick up a GoPro or a laptop,
yeah,
and you could have any conversation you want to with your kids and save it.
yeah,
And that might help you a little bit with the worrisome nature of the unknown, because fear of the unknown, it sucks, man.
it's awful.
Yeah. I'm just saying, it's, what I mean, for legacy, to make sure that you have that, or if
Yeah.
things start trending in a direction where you become even more worried, man, you could we live in a world where you could leave. I mean, I guess you could, like writing a letter with a
Yeah,
quill back in the old days, or however
Yeah.
the hell they used to do it under the lantern. But there's things you could do.
Yeah, no, I have some expensive Gibson custom shop guitars. Like, I have an old truck that, these are like American things that
Yeah.
like I have a lot of pride in my country. Things that I plan on my children having someday, and like just watching my sons like watch me play guitar or
Yeah.
work on my truck. My other son helping me, like they love it. It's so special. And I take pictures, and my oldest son's like, "Why are you always taking pictures?"
Yeah.
Like, I promise you will thank me one day.
Leave some stuff or record some stuff with your voice too.
Yeah.
It's weird to say. Well, maybe it's not weird to say. Maybe it's totally natural. I wish I could hear my mom's voice again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would handle it well, because maybe it would be a little bit too much, but I don't even have the option.
No, like voicemails or recordings or anything?
Like
phone
when I was
messages?
switching phones
Yeah.
a few years after she died,
Yeah.
I accidentally
Deleted them.
No, I accidentally found the last one that I had from her. And it wasn't labeled properly. I'm like, what is this? And I hit it, and it was her voice. That one jarred me, mostly because I didn't know what was coming. But in the process of moving through phones over the time, I don't have anything left as a recording.
That's awful.
It is, but you have the ability to make sure that never happens with your own kids.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
You can leave that legacy, and you can make sure. Again, so now we're like, absolute worst case scenario. Let's go on the other side. The shit's all going to work itself out, right? But you'll still never regret having done those things. Take 5 minutes per day. Dude, pull your phone out
Record
and tell
something.
your kids. Obviously, they're not there. Try not to do it through tears, because it's tough.
Having a tough time thinking about it, talking about it.
Talk to them every day, man.
Yeah.
Talk to them every day.
Yeah. I try to.
Yeah. I mean on the phone, too. Like,
on the phone.
Like record a video of yourself 5 minutes every day. Just telling them something that you appreciate about them and who they are. Because if it does go absolute worst case scenario, man, they will cherish those things for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. My two youngest they're autistic. They're high functioning,
Yeah.
but they're they understand. They know what's going on, but
Yeah.
they just have a hard time talking sometimes. But I took my oldest son and we picked him up the other day, and I think this was one of the top 5 moments of my life, watching my youngest son. Actually, I just told my other son, how special this was to me. But he opens the door and he says, "Oh my God, my son, I don't want to say his name, is here." And he lit up to see my oldest son. And that was hands down, top 5 moments of my life, watching him scream, my other son's name. So excited to see him.
That's a great thing, man.
Oh, it's incredible.
Do you have
incredible.
any relationship at all with your biological parents?
Yeah, kind of. I'll see them every now and then.
Yeah. Hopefully not in a professional capacity.
I'm waiting on the day. No, I choose not to.
Yeah.
Out of respect to my parents, my adopted parents.
Have you forgiven your biological
I
mom
have
and dad?
forgiven. It was hard.
Yeah.
They did the worst thing you could do to children. They gave them away,
Parents
sold them.
Parents aren't perfect, man.
But things like that.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not excusing anybody's behavior.
Yeah.
But I remember I had an opposite upbringing of yours, and even my own self. Like when you're first,
Why don't you tell me more about it? No, I'm kidding.
it was down the middle.
I'm just kidding.
Trust me, it wasn't like a grand slam. It was like right down the middle of the road.
Nice.
Like we're hitting. Yeah, it was nice. If we're being honest. But it's like hitting doubles all day long, right? Like we're not talking like grand slams.
Yeah.
I wasn't flying to Turks and Caicos in a Gulf Stream. Not that I
course.
actually. But When
you
I
were
remember
loved.
when I-
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember when I was young though too. I thought my parents were perfect.
Yeah.
Because
of course.
they were the centers of my universe.
Yeah.
And now that I'm a parent myself,
Yeah.
I have a lot more grace for my parents. That's the point
Yeah.
I'm getting to. Is
Oh,
I have,
for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't. Trust me, your
Yeah.
parents' behavior. I'm not trying to excuse that at all.
Yeah.
But it is interesting when you become a parent yourself. You're like, oh, this was just two people walking around in flesh suits doing the best
Yeah,
that they could
for sure.
possibly do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My both of their mothers. I was married to the two younger ones' mother.
Yep.
I wasn't married to my first. But again, great relationships. I mean, if you give one of them the house and everything else, they tend to like you a little more. But
Not always.
well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned this about fathers going through like divorces and that kind of stuff, custody. If you're there for your kids, you do the best you can to be there for your kids. Like, no one can take that from you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they might be able to take your visitation temporarily, or they may be able to make accusations and stop certain court proceedings, or just we know how women can be, we know how men can be, whatever. But I've learned that I was always there for my kids. I always made an effort to see them, and I have a great relationship with both of the moms because of that. I did everything I could to be there for my kids.
That's good to hear, man. That's,
They couldn't take it from me.
Yeah. The relationship with the other parent, I would say, or having a good one after
Yeah.
going through that thing, I would say is more abnormal
Yeah.
than normal, it seems like.
Telling you.
Contentious, like amicable, but contentious seems to be normal,
Mm-hmm.
or being chased with a knife.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
yikes. No, yeah, like I said, I've so many good people in my life, and just that had grace. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus because
Yep.
so many loving people I've brushed elbows with, and I don't know. I have a lot of good things going on.
I'm glad that you can still focus on
Yeah,
that with all
for
the
sure.
unknowns that are going on.
Yeah.
Where would you want to direct the attention from us sitting down today towards? Do you want to have people educate themselves more about what happened? Would you want somebody in public office to pay more attention to what's going on, perhaps
Yeah.
with the first responders and DOD component of this? What would your goal be?
I want
Or hope, I should say.
Yeah, right. The hope. I feel like these people. I mean, they were just, no pun intended, railroaded.
Yeah.
They were
Too soon.
Too soon. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry,
never
residents.
It's
Yeah.
never too soon.
Yeah. I'm on your side, believe me. Yeah. No, I think they need to be taken care of. Those same people, the same type of people that took care of me. When I was adopted, they need to be taken care of. The same kind of people.
Yeah.
Small
And
town
money isn't
America.
necessarily equating to taking care of people.
Yeah, it's not necessarily money. Just I don't know. They were screwed in so many ways, and even these troops, they were screwed over too with their health. And I will literally talk to anybody that wants to hear about it. I mean, there's other things I haven't told you about, that have happened that are disturbing. I'll talk. I don't care.
What else has happened?
I have a list on my phone from a bunch of things people sent me. There's something to do with they made it for the guardsmen. I think they made it like a workers' comp claim because it was state orders or something.
I do not know how any of that stuff works.
I still don't. Yeah, it was super weird. So they couldn't file for benefits or something through the VA. Being affected by this, I don't know, because they're taking care of me, or at least they will.
Yeah.
But there was something it was workers' comp, so they couldn't claim something, or I don't know.
Perhaps guardrailed them from being able to access other programs.
Maybe.
How they categorized it.
Like I said, it's on my phone. I don't quite
Yeah.
remember exactly what that issue was. But a lot of people complaining about their health, burning skin, this, that. I'm it's been 3 years and people are still suffering. Just villagers.
I would say speak up for those people out there listening.
Yeah.
If you're in the DOD and you were worried about coming forward after being exposed to a chemical, don't necessarily. Well, I mean, if you want to whistleblow, go ahead. I don't know the mechanisms to do that, but address it with your chain of command.
Yeah.
As a first step, as you should if you're in the military. And if they are not open to that, then you can start talking about things outside of that where you can get additional help.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about I guess we've all seen our coworkers or our management do something, shady, kind of like this. Some of them didn't, didn't pull their weight. I mean, you're okay with just whistleblowing, no, I mean, how do you feel about all that? I mean, doing the right thing's doing the right thing.
Whistleblowing,
If you're still in active service, I mean, something like this.
I mean, it exists for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And not an expert in this by any stretch, but from my understanding, it is an ability for somebody who doesn't feel safe or protected to go to their chain of command, to go outside of it, right? If they feel like that they would be punished by their chain of command for even addressing it. I would always say, in a perfect world, which this doesn't exist, but the appropriate procedure would be you have a supportive chain of command that can be receptive to anything. So you would go to them with what you have experienced and what you're feeling.
Yeah.
They will address it. Not everybody lives in that world. And, and I don't necessarily know why somebody in the National Guard would try to shut down anybody underneath them getting the care that they need, especially if it's associated with an activation. But yeah, if you've watched other people try that and they're punitively crushed, I think that's exactly why something
would exist.
But if that's not the case and you don't feel that way, I think your first step should be to try to address with the chain of command. Right? You have to read the terrain in front of you. So it's tough because I'm not in any of those situations. I have no problem with whistleblowing, though, as long as you know what I mean. But also try to address it to the channels it exists. It shouldn't always be the first step, but it should always be an option available if you find yourself in one of those situations.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'll talk. I don't care.
Yeah.
What are they going to come after me? I don't
They
know.
might, but I don't know necessarily what they would say. More than anything, I want you to make sure you get checked out, and get healthy.
Yeah, I'm working on it now. Like I said, they called me the other day to tell me the doctor left, so I got to, I have a new doctor apparently.
Well, hopefully the records will at least pass over. You know what I mean? They can pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
What do you want to close it out with, man? What do you want people to know?
I don't know. I guess there's people out there that care. I guess I mean, this went all the way up to President of the United States. I mean, there's people that care, and I guess I don't know. Those people that saved my life, growing up are I feel are the same kind of people, and that's why I feel compelled to,
to speak up.
Speak up, yeah. I just want accountability, I guess. These people, they need to be taken more, better care of.
Yeah, what sucks is that the train companies can just say, yeah, we did take care of them. We spent $1 million on that. And like I said, just because you put a monetary amount on a check doesn't necessarily mean, especially if they're still living in exactly the same place.
So, I mean, do you think they should be paying their medical bills and all that, separate from a check?
Man, I'm so far outside of knowledge when it comes to that type of stuff. You might as well ask me why the space shuttle doesn't explode when it takes off.
Yeah, sometimes.
I just think a lot of times it's more than money. I mean, people, especially in a litigious society, I think a lot of that, the tail end of that is people probably looking for a check, but a check doesn't solve everything. I mean, I don't understand any of the chemicals that spilled there, but I bet you that they have a long tail and how long that they are in place for. I mean, to me, let's say that it has long-term consequences. To me, true accountability from the train organization, whoever a court decided was accountable. Be like, you lift and shift those people and you make sure that their lives aren't even more negatively impacted. And then you put a check on top of that as well, too, right? So I guess that does all come down to money, but it's what you do with the money.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy world.
It is. Stay on top of your medical issues, if you will.
Okay.
For your kids. Got something for you before you leave.
Oh, I got something for you, too, in the car.
Yeah, well, your car's not here, is it?
Oh, it's across the street.
That's for you.
No way.
You two don't get anything. Yep.
I was literally telling them I want to stop and...
This is their redacted knife.
No way.
Hopefully you guys, if you were carry-on only getting here, I will mail it to you. And by that, I mean Michael does that.
Well,
but
we may or may not brought...
oh, you're going to have to check anyway. Yeah, so you're good.
We brought some protection.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's incredible.
Don't cut your hand. There you go.
Wow,
I've had a couple people who haven't been able to figure out how to get a knife out of a sheath, and I just wonder what they did when they were children.
Yeah, this is incredible. Wow.
Yeah. It's got the podcast logo laser etched on there, so you are good to go, man.
That is incredible. Wow.
Talk to me about plans while you're in Montana, because I know you guys. How long are you guys here for?
A few days. We all took off work, and
the mountains are a good reset.
Yeah.
Topography here not the same where you're from.
I was in Wyoming last summer.
Okay.
We did the rodeo 3 nights. We did, hiking, all that stuff. We ride horses back home. We love horses. And
So you guys talked about Glacier. What else you got planned?
Glacier. I would like to go to Yellowstone. How far is that from here? A few hours?
Michael?
Yeah, it's pretty far.
It's probably a few hours.
8 hours?
5 or 6 hours.
5 or 6. I mean, that's not,
maybe 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not awful.
Glacier is going to give you,
That's incredible. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. Glacier is going to give you about the same stuff as Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about wildlife? What do you got around here? Other
We got
than,
some
you know,
stuff.
Some elk and
We got the same stuff Glacier. Well, we don't have any bison, do we?
Not in the park, no.
Yeah. That people try to pet or put their
are
children
they like
on.
around here?
There's a bison ranch around here.
Yeah.
But it's all private, obviously.
Yeah. I'm Native
Yeah.
American, man. That's my animal.
I would say Yellowstone probably has more wildlife given its size. Glacier is going to they will have elk though. It'll have moose. It'll have bears, both black and grizz. I think the grizz are still hibernating. Actually, all the bears are still hibernating. I don't know if I would drive 8 hours. That depends on how much car time you guys want to have.
Do you guys have like? Are you pretty strict around here about hunting as far as seasons and all that? Because
Yeah, everywhere in the U.S. is strict like that.
So that's what I thought. Hold on. Well, let me explain. Let me explain. So
where is this question going?
So in Ohio,
Yeah.
it's very strict as far as like your weapons and all that.
Yeah.
Apparently in Michigan, it's not. You can get 10 doe tags.
Yeah, but during the season.
Well, yeah, during season. I mean, like, I shouldn't say that. That was a stupid question. As far as like weapons and all that kind of stuff, is it pretty open or? Is it strict in that aspect? I should have said.
So very strict on tags, specifically sex of the animal.
Yeah.
And type of animal. Some of the animals are a draw, like antelope. Well, there's fishing game is going out there, and they're determining how many tags we're going to get. So it can be draws, but yeah, they are very specific actually. There's specific times for bow, there's specific time for black powder, specific time for kids, specific time for firearm. I don't know what kind of limitation they put on firearms, but
Did you use ARs and all that?
It said there's no specific caliber limitations.
See,
there you go.
So that's what I'm talking about. In Ohio, it's pretty, like you can't hunt deer with ARs, and
it's probably not the best round for a deer.
it's probably not the best round, but I use a 450 Bushmaster
Okay.
when I'm not using my bow. There's only a week of gun season anyway, other than muzzleloader, but
I bet it sounds like Gettysburg.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Like opening morning.
Yeah.
Just like
It's insane.
Ear pro.
Yeah. We have my uncle and aunt, they have a nice piece of property.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that hunts there, and that's where that monster was.
Yeah.
But you can hear, Gettysburg, exactly.
Yeah, when you only got a week, you kind of got to get it in. You'd have about 60, depending on, if you started in bow season, you'd have 60 to 90 days to hunt if you went all the way through for rifle as well. Because you can bow hunt in rifle season. You just have to start wearing a vest.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's a story behind every vest.
I know, right? I've had some stories. I've had a huge tree fall on me almost fall on me in my blind.
Really?
Talk about luck. And this would have been my buddies at work responding to my body.
Yeah.
I was in a blind, and I about texted my wife, but I didn't think I needed to. I was going to say, hey, in case a tree falls on me,
Yeah.
check on me in a few
Was it
minutes.
just a dead tree that fell, or was it wind?
Yeah. Well, it was really windy.
Yeah.
And of the entire property, I was on the cornfield and the wood line. I was just in it in a blind. I heard a crack, and I sprinted out of that blind as fast as I could. And on my way out, this huge tree fell, and it brushed my shoulder. It crushed my steel chair.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I have pictures of this. It's crazy. It landed on the ground, huge tree. So I would have been dead, but I managed to just squeak out of there in time. I almost fell out of a stand. I was wearing a harness, thank gosh. A few months ago, and actually during gun season with the 450 right by my head, and I'm trying to hold on to this stand, and oh man, it was wild.
Yeah, always wear the harness, always use the safety line in those things. There's just, there's so many
So
stories
important.
of people. Yeah,
that harness. Yeah, people falling out, breaking their necks, and
for sure.
yeah.
All right, boys.
Cool. Well,
Let's
I
get you out of
appreciate
here
it.
and let you enjoy Montana. What do you guys have planned for dinner tonight? I can give you some reservation ideas.
Please.
Michael, what do you think? DeSoto Grill?
DeSoto is always like,
It's like 2
they're
blocks.
probably
Where,
in
where are you
town?
guys staying?
Where are we staying? How far is it? Right up the road here.
Red Line?
Hotel.
Red Line.
I don't think it's Red Line.
Did
I
you guys
forget the name of the
walk
hotel.
or drive?
Oh, we drove. We flew to the airport, got a rental.
I figured that much.
Yeah.
I figured you didn't walk here.
We actually flew the airplane.
Yeah.
It's right outside here.
Yeah.
We're only about 8 minutes from here.
Okay, so you're up
8
north.
minutes,
Okay. DeSoto Grill is what I would recommend for you guys tonight.
DeSoto.
They have like elk sausage, elk platters,
Oh,
wild
yeah.
game platters.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you go there and you
Yeah.
don't eat the cornbread, I am not sure you're living life appropriately. You need to try the cornbread.
Cornbread,
They're going to
okay.
try to give it to you with everything that you order. The answer is
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
It is good.
Interesting.
Where else, Michael? What would you recommend?
DeSoto.
Mercantile's good.
Mercantile, good.
What is it called?
The Mercantile.
Mercantile.
That'd be good for that's a little bit of a higher end restaurant. If you guys want to go up into Whitefish, I don't go up there often.
I don't. Whitefish has a really good Italian restaurant, Abruzzo's, except it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
They have Jalisco's Mexican
Yeah.
restaurant. Whitefish has a lot of really good restaurants.
Whitefish.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt? Are you the guy who had that big that big?
The Constitution.
Yeah, that was you.
Oh, the Constitution.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yep.
I do. Yes.
He doesn't
I am
have a
the guy.
permit for that.
Yeah.
He's like, this thing. I would so desperately want to let him try to fire that.
Oh my
thing.
goodness. That'd be a sight to see. Yeah.
Yeah, just one time, make sure there are several GoPros on every angle.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I will drop off what I have for you, maybe at the store.
Yeah, just tell them at the store that it's for me, and they'll take it back downstairs for you.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Well, I'll get you guys out of here.
Yeah,
Right
appreciate
on.
it.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.